I got one. If I can bring it. I have jeans following me. BRB. Ta-da! Your lass is here. Hello, hello. Hello, Davinia, my dear. How are you? Normal service has resumed. I was going to cover that end bit on award-winning Kerbalism, but since Kevin Helen has covered it, and we're rather based about it, I don't think I need to. I might change my mind though. Fair warning. Rejoice, we have a Fuzzmuzz. Black Bartski, hello, welcome in. Good evening. Your mad Scottish lass is here for Scottish politics, primarily because there's an election happening, if you don't know. Seriously, going down to Newton Mearns is making more obvious you're a middle class wank, Annas, really? No. Oh, was that Phil that said that? Excuse me. I've got my proper cover back. Because I'm such a messy eater, and my hands keep on shaking, the soup that I had on Saturday, so yesterday, I got soup all over my cover, my blanket, so I had to get washed. So it is lovely and clean. Oh, and smells of florals. It's nice and cosy as well, and really quite soft, again. Fair warning, I can't remember, I watched this morning at 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, after Laura. And I can't remember what wankery they've got on. It was rather good. It is good when they cover it. But if they don't, there's always me. Because I'm Scottish and interested in politics and history. Oddly enough. Fun fact. Churchill was an MP for Dundee. Might be in the 1920s, over a century ago, but holy fuck. Dundee, why the fuck did you vote for that bastard? Oh, how many have we got? We have 5 people. And we've been going, oh, I've got another minute. I'll give people 10 minutes to get in. I like that Gary Robinson brings you all the main issues of the world of politics and beyond. Big interviews, discussion and analysis of the stories that matter to Scotland. Yeah, right. Maybe he came to my door yesterday. Spoke to Mum and she immediately said we are a house of SNP supporters. And he said even after 19 years. You're Crichton, right, isn't it? Who is a Lib Dem, I believe. Is he a Lib Dem? Your MP? If I remember correctly. Torfin? Hello, Michael Askew. Oh yeah, he's Labour. Fucking hell. See, not to dox Fuzzmuzz, he's the Western Isles, so to the north of me. Most of that is Lib Dem territory. Even though Alex Cole Hamilton, is he Leicester constituency? He's in Edinburgh. That's where his seat is. Essentially, either his seat or he's for the Lothian region. Russell Finley's going to lose his fucking seat. He is constituency and he's fucked. Central line between Glasgow. Oh, Christ, you're near me then. So the vast majority of the population of Scotland is in the central belt between Glasgow, here, and Edinburgh, to the east. So that's the main concentration. If you look at like images of Scotland at night, you see all the lights and it's mostly in the central belt and up the coasts, essentially. But the vast majority, like 85% at least 80% of the population live in the Central Belt. And there's bits above and below, like to the north there's just vast areas of nothing, just deer and fucking eagles and lots of fucking sheep. Oh, I get you mixed up with idiosyncrasy. He's up in the Western Isles. Sorry, Phasmas. I do apologise. Let's see what today's topic is, shall we? Last week was health and social care. And Jackie Bailey was wank.
It isn't
Who'd
just
have thunk it?
a race. It's thousands of journeys worth celebrating. Joy in the chase, pain in the mile.
Good morning. Once again, Sir Keir Starmer is fighting for his job. The Prime Minister has been under fire after the latest revelations around...
If they want all that nonsense to stop and him being in the fucking newspapers and headlines, maybe he should step down. Don't get me wrong, I don't like any of the people in the cabinet. I want shot of this government completely. But if we get... God, there is worse bastards than him in the cabinet. You know, like Shabana and fucking odious little prick. And that fucking Labour Together dickhead Steve Reid. Davinia, who would you rather see? Him stay in place? Or have someone like Wes? Or fucking... Yeah, don't forget it. That's odious little prick, by the way. That's what I'm calling him, because he is. Yeah, bloody Keith. Or like Kendall or someone fucking wankery like that. No, I'm using the way I've shifted the position of my desk and the laptop, and I've got the camera placed a little bit better, so you get the mirror behind me right there, and my curtains, my window, and to that side, at the left, up there, all my books and my DVDs. Like, all my DVDs. They are my DVDs, they're not his, they're mine. Oh yeah, don't get me wrong, I'd rather have Zach as at PM as well. I really would. And Mothin as deputy, or Rachel as deputy, who would be better? Either of them. Yeah. He'd have to get rid of the moratorium on it. So there's 2 moratoriums we've got in place up here. Nuclear and fracking. They ain't getting rid of the fracking one. That one is staying in place. As long as I've got breath left in me, I'm not going to allow them to do fracking here in Scotland. Seriously, unlike Boris, I will lie down in a ditch and stop them from fucking doing it. Because you have to remember, where they mine for coal here in Scotland is mostly just north of the Central Belt and parts of Fife, where the vast majority of the population live. Get right, don't want fucking fracking, go away, bastards. It's bad enough that we're using fossil fuels. I do not need that fucking bollocks happening here. No, 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 no. No problem, Davinia, I will be here.
The appointment of Labour grandee Peter Mandelson as the UK's US ambassador. So we'll bring you the latest. In the run-up to the election, we have an extended programme on BBC One, taking you right up to 11 o'clock. Each week, we'll seek out answers to the issues that matter to you from senior party figures.
Hi, Andy.
This morning, we'll be hearing how those asking for your vote will bring down the cost of your day-to-day lives. And with talk of grubby green room deals and lies making headlines this week, Labour and Reform will be on our panel just after 10:30. It's great to have you with us. I'm Gary Robertson. Welcome to the Sunday Show. So, is it time for Sir Keir Starmer to go? It's the question that's repeatedly refreshed and, unfortunately for the Prime Minister, just won't go away. New revelations over his appointment of Peter Mandelson as US Ambassador once again have his critics and perhaps colleagues circling. Well, I'm joined by our political correspondent Phil Sim, who's...
You know me, Andy. Glutton for punishment. It has to be covered, and it has to be covered by a mad Scotchwoman, obviously. There is a reason I exist and started this stream. So yes, bring on the torture. That is my lot in life, essentially, responding to these fucking bastards. Or reacting to them. Trying to explain there is a better way. Will I be heard? Doubtful. Shall we, everyone? Yes, next topic.
With the latest. And Sir Keir Starmer was in Scotland, in fact, yesterday.
Yes, indeed. He seems to have jetted in on Friday night for a brief visit after these talks he was having in Paris about the Iran conflict. He visited the Faslane submarine base yesterday, where the UK's nuclear deterrent is based. And then he was straight away down the road again. There was no campaigning, no meetings with...
If I knew he was that fucking close to me, to get out to the, obviously you'd have cars and stuff, but the only way you can get out to that fucking naval base is through Helensburgh, and I can get there rather easily. If I knew he was coming up. I would have told him, get wrecked. You're not liked here, why are you fucking visiting? Don't get me wrong, Faslane, very important, blah blah blah, all that fucking bollocks. I would have just said, isn't it time you should be going? Literally. Out of number 10. But what do I know? I'm just a lefty loony.
The Scottish Labour figures. He wasn't out chapping on any doors, which I imagine was always the plan during this campaign. I think they wanted to have the Prime Minister visit at some point probably, but in a reserved area like defence, where he can say he's here doing the work of the UK government. And you know, it's a long time since he's been out and done a big public...
Yeah, what? He does realise that was... They actually done that during the war, during rationing. And even for a few years after the war was finished and we defeated the Fash. That was literal UK government policy. Because after the war, the country was fucked. So to keep people well fed and things, they still had a price cap in place. These people must know this, especially the ones that done fucking history. They still had bread rationing and flour rationing up until the year my mum was born, which was 1954 for fuck's sake. Best part of a decade after the war. Because of where we got our wheat from, essentially. Yeah. How the fuck is capping food prices communism? He might have an argument for saying giving away food is communism, maybe. But capping food prices is not communism. We still have to pay for it. $55, yeah. Oh, he's a year younger than my mum. Yeah. The last time they voted Tory here in Glasgow was when was the election? So 55, yeah, that was the last time. '57 or something, give me a minute. General elections in 1950. Okay. General. I can type, honestly. God damn it, fingers work. Elections in the 1950s. Fine, I'll accept the cookies. There he is. Fuck you. No, no, go away, go away, go away, go away, go away, go away. Ah, enemy. Oh, fucking hell. Ah, go away. Wrong one. No. Oh, right, there we go, there we go, there we go. No, anything of these. Oh, there we go, 50, 51, 55, so they... Fucking hell, Eden. 55, 59, so then 5 years. Oh, look. There we go. Wilson. Would it be that one or that one? I'm trying to remember what Wilson government it was when LBJ... Oh God, no, it would have been 64. The LBJ came and asked him. I lived in Nicholas Montaigne. We want a divorce from us for so much. Yeah, those with Scottish heritage. There is a good few Scots in your area, especially in the city. Oddly enough, engineering and heavy industry. If you hadn't noticed, we're actually quite good at that. I keep on forgetting he replaced Wilson. Oh God, poor Callahan. He wasn't there long enough. Blair. Was he elected on... Was it the 1st of May? Was it fucking May Day? Oh God, that fucking... That tastes horrible in my mouth. Fucking hell. I keep on forgetting. That was the first ever general election I voted in, by the way. My MP, Rejoice, was Jackie fucking Bailey. God, just end me. Can't get rid of the bitch. But it looks like we might be getting rid of her. Ha ha ha. Get wrecked, Jackie.
With, you know, sort of people in the background. It's usually in like an airbase or something, quite stage managed when he is here. So there's been criticism of the fact he didn't meet Anna Sauer, but I'm not really surprised given the break there's been between the two of them. It probably would have raised more questions if they had been arm in arm somewhere.
And there are questions now about his future. He's got a lot to contemplate this weekend. He gives a statement to Parliament tomorrow about this whole Peter Mandelson affair.
Yes.
I said it in Kev's... Was it Kev's or Helena's? No, it was Kev's chat. I said in Kev's chat, mark my words, he will not make that statement. He won't. He's got proven track record for this. He said he was going to do one on a couple of... I can't remember what the two were, but he didn't fucking do it. I think he discussed it with the PLP in meeting rooms in Westminster. But he didn't make a statement in the comments about one thing specifically. Fuck, I can't remember what it was. And he didn't. We were all expecting him to. I can't remember what the fucking topic was. Fuck. Or what legislation it was. First time you voted, was it, oh, don't make me feel fucking old, Fuzzmas. Fuck. Oh. So the minimum age you would have to have been was 16, which means, dear God, I'm old enough to be your mum. That's fucking terrifying. If you're anything under the age of 27, I'm old enough to, well, 20, so now to be 20. Yeah, fuck it, take it back down. If you're anything below the age of 30, I'm really excited an emotion of no confidence in the dead. Not really, I'm a millennial. Oh God, right. Thank fuck for that. Which means you're older than my MB sweetie. That's entirely up to the Cabinet and the PLP. Do we think? Possibility. We will find out. You should do the honourable thing and just step down. Just say, I fucked up. Everyone fucking hates me. Catch you later, dickheads. I'm off ski. He won't, though. And I didn't see anything coming from the cabinet to ask him to step down to save the government or anything like that, because they're all a bunch of backstabbing snake bastards. I don't want any of them to become Prime Minister, let alone under these fucking conditions. No. We'll find out. Keeping a close eye, don't you worry. Now, if they get the kicking I expect them to get, both down in England, up here, and in Wales, he's already untenable, fuck it. Even after that, and they get the kicking, fucking very untenable. Just go away. I don't know. He is being a Boris, and they might Boris him. They might Boris him. They might. But that was the cabinet. That was his cabinet telling him to fuck off. Yeah, the Tories don't like it when they're in the spotlight too much with all the shenanigans going on, which is a fucking neat trick because most of their fucking cabinets have been absolute shambles. They want no confidence in them. Yeah, correct, Omaha. They fucking won't. They won't. You have to remember, a third or half of the PLP were specifically chosen by the Prince of Darkness and Mick Schemey. So they won't. They'll back him to the hilt, essentially. But the other ones, the other Blairite ones who've been there since 97, some of them actually. Some of them before that, before Blair, they've been there. They might be getting slightly peeved because a lot of their majorities are fucking dog shit. You should just go to force and he draws from us. As much as I'd want to see that happen, Omaha. Nah. When do they say that the political class don't have a normal loan the exchange rate? Oh god, the exchange rate mechanism was a fuck up. Yeah, that was basically a poll tax, yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Maggie, you absolute fucking demon. I hope you are burning. It was the Tories that booted Thatcher. Yeah, it was literally her cabinet that stabbed her in the front. Then we got the grey man. Literally grey. That was rather good, the way he got portrayed by Spitting Image. It's really fun. Ah. Why should I resign? Exactly. I would just quit out of spite. With all this fucking scrutiny, especially on the Prime Minister and the Cabinet at large, he's untenable. It's not good. People out with the country looking in at what's happening here, this abject fucking chaos, said, weren't they one of the most stable fucking countries in history? Not if you look closely. Trust me, we haven't been. We've seen stable from the outside. But inside, we're fucking basket case of a country. Trust me, I live here.
Obviously, you know, it's not new that there are questions about Keir Starmer's future, and there have been questions about the Mandelson affair previously as well. The issue now, these concerns that were raised during the vetting process, the Prime Minister says he didn't know about it, but then people say, well, should he have known about it, and has all of this ultimately happened because he wanted
Just like Trevor Phillips said earlier on when he was interviewing 4%, he's a nerd like me, he went and checked the actual legislation around this. He said, yeah, they don't, because of security reasons and lots of other fucking bollocks, they don't need to say to either the Prime Minister or the Foreign Secretary, like, there's 4 great offices of state. There's Prime Minister, Chancellor of the Exchequer, Foreign and Home or Interior if you want. Those are the 4 great offices of state here. So anyone that has one of those jobs, so right, those 4, so Keir, Rachel, Lammy now, but now is Yvette Cooper, and what was the other one I said? Home, Chibana. Or Yvette, she was Home. So any one of those four, one of them was bound to know. And you have to remember, Lammy is a fucking lawyer as well. He should know better. And if his permanent undersecretary or the actual cabinet secretary, the actual civil servant, who's basically the chief person in each of the so there's the main secretary, essentially, for all of the government, and he oversees what happens in all the different departments for the government. The person who actually works in the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, lad, is one of the most senior civil servants in all the land. He should have been breaking down Lammy's door, saying, "Fucking Mandelson didn't pass." And at that point, I would suspect that Lammy said, "Shut the fuck up, he's getting hired anyway." That means Lammy's untenable. I hate this government. I fucking hate it. I really fucking hate it. Oh, fingers crossed. Based, Stephen. Based. Bring on the rolled R's.
Ambassador. People just made it happen because they knew the Prime Minister wanted it. This has haunted him for some time, but it remains the case. We're in the middle of an election campaign, which is a difficult time for Labour in Scotland, in Wales, and in the rest of the country around England, the local elections. It could be that if there are people who want to challenge Keir Starmer for his job within the Labour Party, this is not the opportune moment. They might have to wait until these elections are done before they then sort of come forward. And the remaining question here, of course, is Scotland for Anas Sarwar. He has already called for Keir Starmer to go. He's kind of out ahead of this in a way. It's meant that we haven't been at.
He done it out of blind self-interest, Phil. With any fucking luck, you'll get proven correct. So look, showed you, look what's happened. It's because of you. We're fucked. No, you're both to blame, Anas, trust me on that one. We really don't like you here. By the way, he's one of my list MSPs. Fuck off, Anas. Slightly different electoral calculus to get rid of someone off the list. Easy to vote someone out if it's first past the post. Like his second in command. Or people like Russell Finlay, who has a constituency as well. He's in danger of losing his seat. See you later, Russell. I cannot remember if Alex Cole-Hamilton is list or constituency. Fusmus, is Alex Cole-Hamilton list or constituency?
Ask him about it during this campaign. He hasn't really been asked about Keir Starmer up until now. It has been a difficult week for Anas Sarwar regardless. I think he's wanted to have a campaign where he's just going head to head with John Swinney and he's not distracted by UK politics or by other parties like Reform. Both of those things have now happened this week. He's been caught up in these rows. So I think ultimately it's an uncomfortable one for Anas Sarwar, clearly, because he had that tweet where he
Sorry about that, I had that a bit too high.
His friend is still floating around out there. He's still
a picture of the two of them together. Yeah.
Indeed. But,
Excuse me.
He doesn't need to change his position or anything here. He has already called Peter Mandelson a traitor. He's already broken from Keir Starmer. It means that the questions to him are a little less obvious in terms of him changing his position.
Yeah. Several days of peril, I guess, because of course we've got Ollie Robbins, the civil servant who was sacked, also giving evidence to Parliament on Tuesday as well.
Yeah, and it's one of these things.
Give me a minute. Right, here we go. Even before all of this started, even before he was he was probably considered the minute Morgan McSweeney fucking took over and Labour together took hold. Even before then, fired twice. Fired. It was said earlier on that he resigned. No. Fired twice. Even at that point, and he already had dodgy dealings when he was a fucking cabinet member in Blair's government. Believe constituency. Right, fuck it, we'll check. I keep on thinking that his previous one was constituency, which was Willie Rennie, by the way. He was a constituency MSP for 5. Alex Cole-Hamilton. There we go. Wikipedia. Hello, Alex Cole Hamilton. Edinburgh constituency. So Edinburgh Western, so that's closer to, so obviously you know how the maps work and stuff, so as coming on the way, leaving Edinburgh, coming towards us here in Glasgow, so he's on the outer edge of the city. I've got a funny feeling that part of Edinburgh that he represents is rather posh and really filled with middle class wanks, probably. Lib Dem voters, obviously, because they voted him in. Oh. Be sure your sons will find you out.
Keep rolling. You know,
Sorry,
the
Alex.
sort of things that come up every day, and thus things that knock on into the Scottish campaign, because the party leaders here are out every single day talking about things, and they have the opportunity to talk about it. And basically, every party leader, near enough, has been calling for Starmer to go. Possibly with the exception of Malcolm Offord, who said that he doesn't want to jump on the bandwagon, but I wouldn't be surprised if we did have a full set of leaders on that bandwagon before long.
Yeah, well,
he's being disingenuous. He wants them gone as well. Don't get what he says. He's a Tory after all.
Illegal during any of this. Of course, you mentioned the election campaign, and this is, if people want to take part in the election, pretty much their last chance to register.
Yes, so it's midnight tomorrow. Monday night midnight is the deadline to register to vote in this election. I mean, I'm sure the sort of political fans who watch this show will already be registered, but for everyone else, that is the moment to do it. It will be interesting to see the sort of numbers of people who have registered, because there have been suggestions that turnout could be down in this election. And, you know, turnout could be a crucial factor in how the election actually goes, in the way that the parties campaign, their tactics, and how the result ends up playing out. You know, it is worth remembering there's a record number of constituency candidates who signed up to stand in this election. There are 29 different political parties standing. People have probably more choice than they've ever had at an election before in Scotland, and this is the point at which they can make sure they're able to use that choice by registering to vote.
Okay, Phil, thank you very much for all of that. Now, we've all heard of doom scrolling, that compulsive habit of scrolling through distressing, negative content online, even though it causes anxiety, depression or fear. Well, that word may also be applied if you're regularly checking your banking apps, your credit card statements and your energy bills, all with a sense of doom. The cost of living has had prices tagged to it for years now, and the signs are that it will get worse before it gets better. The economy is complex, but its performance has a huge impact on how you feel. So when will you start to feel better? Well, we'll ask our panel of candidates in a moment. But first, this week I went to speak to some of the people grappling with these challenges to hear how they are managing. And I started with a Clackmannanshire farm.
These are all
What the hell is going on with
Yes,
this?
we run the ducks. We hatch them all regularly.
Like many farms in Scotland, Salsgirth Home Farm near Dollar has had to diversify.
So how many sheep do you actually have? Do you know off the top of your head?
Yeah, at the moment 240.
Traditional crops and animals are no longer the mainstay for some farmers. Here they run farm tours and sell their own produce too.
And this diversification, was that always your aim, or has that been born out of necessity?
I think it's born out of being able to make more use of the farm. So we have our livestock, but that's not really enough to carry on. We need more, we need other options. And I also want to, I guess the main part of it, the main point was to bring the public in to come and see how you look after your animals and where their dinner comes from, to encourage them to buy local produce.
So you're literally rearing the animals and they can buy the end product?
Yeah, so it's hatch to dispatch, we call it.
That's better.
You bought the farm just before COVID, so we had the pandemic, we've had all kinds of issues since then. What have been the kind of main difficulties for you?
I guess the change in costs is fairly enormous.
What the? Things are happening. Things are happening. I hear noises. Go to my activity list, please. Go there. God damn it, phone. I charged you. Steph Zweig. Thank you for following. Sorry, I forgot to thank you yesterday. Grand Dude, if you are here, thank you for the follow. Praise be. Grand Dude 77. I know Grand Dude. He is based. But it goes to Clacton, so imagine him as PM, he's going to be barely at PMQs. He's barely at PMQs as it is anyway, fuck it. Best Prime Minister is the one that's never in the House of Commons? I don't know. I will say again, if that becomes Prime Minister, I'm going to be in queue and buying a shovel myself. Mark my words. I do not want that as Prime Minister. He can fuck right off. Why do you think there's a reason he's left it all up to bloody Thomas Kerr and Malcolm Offord? He barely comes up here. He does not get a good response from us, oddly enough. Are you scared of us, Nigel? You don't need to be, we're just going to shout at you and say you're a ball bag. Which you are. Yeah. No violence, anyone, please. Just do your political violence at the ballot box. Or email your MP if you wish. People of Clacton. Fuck you can email them if you like. I don't see you'll give a fuck. My God, the electorate of Holborn and St Pancras, feel free to email your MP. Not that he gives a fuck either about yous. Andrew Feinstein should have fucking won. Correct, Andy. Yeah.
The cost of red diesel is more, I think it's triple what it was when we started this. It's really difficult. And the cost of, we're obviously adding on a bit of extensions onto this big barn here. The cost of that is now like more than double for each, a door costs twice or more.
Farages a VRT, Farages a VRT.
Politicians generally understand the plight that you're in, understand the countryside, I guess.
How can you say it? No. So the problem, well, we talk about the cost of diesel and things, but we also have the cost of rates. I mean, what they've done. I mean, we haven't even figured out what our actual costs are going to be. But some cases are quadruple what they were. It's unbelievable.
And are you able to put your prices up to compensate for some of these extra costs that you have to bear?
I don't feel we can because of the struggle that everyone's under at the moment.
Elsewhere, many farms now run chilled.
I feel for her. I do. I really do. The one that is squeezing them, that's making it worse, are the supermarkets. What I do is actually tackle the supermarket end of it first. I give better subsidies for them, try to change it to a more sustainable agricultural model. I was at the actual autumn conference over in Edinburgh, oddly enough, but I didn't go to the spring one, the spring conference, which was actually here in Glasgow, at my university. I wasn't feeling that great. My joints were playing up and my knee was fucking massive. Even though I know exactly what building I was in, so I attended online. I was there digitally, essentially. And one of the talks that I watched was about sustainable agriculture. It was fascinating. I fucking loved it.
Adventure parks as an extra revenue stream. Briarlands Farm Park in Stirlingshire is a big draw during the school holidays.
We're under pressure now.
Some parents are having to make hard choices on how to stretch their budgets.
It's mostly the food shop. We really need to be careful what we're spending. You go in to just get the essentials and then you go in and you do the usual, I'll pick up a bottle of wine, I'll get this, that, and before you know it you spend 30 quid in just a bag. So we one's birthday today. Last year we booked a camper van and we went away down south, whereas this year we're going to a kind of farm that's close by to your house, a fraction of the cost. It's just the way things are. We all need to tighten our belt.
I want to do the Amsterdam tea. I feel like everything is...
I'd like that. Right, where is it? Look, rejoice! Navy passport! Ah, not the red one that you get from the EU, because that is a bad thing. This is the proper passport, not the red one. We can't afford to go on holiday anywhere. We have day trips or little weekend getaways, mostly quite exclusively Scotland, and there's plenty of places. I've got free bus travel, for fuck's sake, and him as my carer, he can come with me. We just need to pay for like the hotel or B&B or something. Do they do farmers cooperatives to build bigger. There is one in there is two in Perthshire that are soft fruits, raspberries and strawberries. Those are cooperatives. They're owned and ran by the workers, and they still sell to the supermarkets, and they get a decent wage for it. They get decent money back from the supermarkets. They sell locally in Perthshire up the east coast, and they sell in a couple of supermarkets down here in Glasgow. And there's another raspberry one as well, which is in the Cars of Gowrie, which is just north of Perth. There's lots of soft fruits. There's lots of like berries and stuff that get grown in Perthshire. That and tatties. There's two cooperative ones down in Ayrshire. I can't remember, just outside Sanker and just outside Coylton. They're worker-owned, worker cooperatives as well, and they sell locally at farmers markets and in local stores in Ayr and in Troon and stuff, and Stranraer. They go down a bit. Oh, no. Worker cooperatives, there's still models that work in this capitalist hellscape we live in. Don't get me wrong, I want more worker cooperatives. I think they're fucking based. Brilliant. I love the two up in Perthshire. I've actually bought berries from them before. They sell in a couple of organic fruit stores in Perth and Dundee. You're paying a little bit more. Essentially, the strawberries and raspberries that you get in most supermarkets, especially Tesco, Satanda? They get grown in Spain when Spain's not getting burnt to a crisp. That's why a lot of the ones here, the soft fruits that get grown here in Scotland, we're selling more of them now. Because the ones that we relied on that we got from Spain, because they're getting hotter temperatures, so most soft fruits are usually harvested or picked late July, August and September. But because Spain gets burnt to a crisp during the summer months, their volume of like strawberries especially have been reduced because the drought and everything and other climatic conditions where they get grown in Spain. So ours are getting sold. And they are actually more tasty.
Going up, but the price of wages and stuff doesn't go up, so it's quite hard, the cost of living. Just bills in general, and even like food. My wee boy just loves fruit, so that's always fresh stuff every other day. So yeah, you notice the price of it all. I feel like there could be more help for single parents.
Oh, don't worry.
Those challenges are having an impact on lifestyles and spending choices.
Oh, nearly.
We always just used to shop in like the one store, but now we have to kind of split it
Would
up
you look
between
at that
the
name,
stores to get the
McGuckin?
best most out of our money. Well, it just used to be Tesco and M&S, but now more so things like Aldi and Farm Foods.
Hey.
We haven't been able to get away, take the kids on holiday at all yet, and they are 6 and 8 now. It's something that we really, really want to do, is be able to take them on holiday, but the budget just doesn't allow the room to save for a holiday. We try not to spend too much for ourselves, whether it's sort of hair appointments, buying clothes. Again, the kids get prioritised.
Oh, the horror! Our nearest Farm Foods is just up there used to be one in the shopping centre in Springburn. It closed years ago now. But our nearest one is up that way, up there, going towards Bishopbriggs. And it's the larger one, and there's one down right next to Bingo, oddly enough. A Buzz Bingo, so there's a large Farm Foods down the way. Us personally, love Iceland. We do most of our shopping in Bishopbriggs, in the Triangle Centre in a Morrison's. We like their meat. We like their fresh meat and stuff. And their fresh fruit and veg is really good. They own farms, by the way, Morrison's. That's why they can do really good fresh fruit and veg, especially British grown ones, oddly enough.
sacrificed each and every time. But we don't go without. We just do our best to live within our means.
Well, throughout the campaign, we've been asking you to tell us what matters to you through BBC Your Voice. Hazel Carnegie in Aberdeen got in touch with concerns around council tax hikes. Hazel says we're used to the definition of fuel poverty, where people spend more than 10% of their income on home energy. What about having to spend more than 10%?
15%, I calculated it last week. So the income coming into this household for myself and Super Hubby, we spent 15% for fuel, for electricity and for gas, because it's a gas boiler we've got. So yeah, we spent 15%, essentially. The lowest we've ever paid for the energy for this house, this flat that we live in, is 8%, which is damn close to the 10 anyway. There was a study done that I read fucking ages ago. It was when I was actually at uni, and this is, we're talking over 20 years ago now, that if you have to spend more than 5% of your household income to actually fuel your house, to fuel your little adobe, you're getting shafted essentially. I know of friends. There was Scottish Power. We're with Utilita. We don't pay standing charges. Technically, it's my account. I'm the customer for Utilita. I've heard of households paying 22% of their household income on their energy cost, which is just fucking mad. Nearly a quarter. What the hell is happening? It's bad enough that we're paying 50% of the money that comes into the house to actually fuel the place. Stop, just get rid of that link, delink it. I'm fed up of paying for a fully renewable electricity generation here in Scotland and getting shafted because it's pegged to fossil fuel prices. Get right. I fucking hate it. Do fucking Tidal!
On council tax, even after the single household discount. Why has this continued to be avoided by the politicians?
I wonder why. Maybe they need to do a rebanding. They haven't done a rebanding at all since council tax got instituted, because it was the immediate reaction to the poll tax, oddly enough. If you want to blame anyone for the council tax, blame Major, essentially. And Blair didn't fucking help, because he would say he would reform it and make it a little bit more representative, a little bit more adherent to the actual cost of living in the different areas and what types of property you live in. He fucking didn't. There was another fucking promise he went back on in that 97 election. He said he'd get rid of all the anti-union legislation that she put in place. He didn't. Plus he's a fucking war criminal, allegedly.
Kelly on Arran has also been in touch. She sent us this clip.
I live on a Scottish island, and the way that we heat our home and have hot water is with oil. There is no mainline gas connection. Like many other two-parent working families close to where I live and in other rural communities around the country right now.
And Malcolm can fuck right off. He literally can. He got that directly from Manfrog, by the way, Fuzzmas. He's literally trying to starve this administration of money. And he said it before. I will keep on mentioning this. I'll keep on bringing it up. He doesn't, Manfrog I'm talking specifically, and probably because offered joint reform. This is when Manfrog was UKIP, by the way. Saying that he wants to get rid of the devolved administrations. So no, the pair of them can fuck right off. You can come after the Parliament after you've dealt with me, you bastards. Literally. Don't you dare come after Holyrood. You're going to piss a lot of us Scots off, and you really didn't want that. You don't. We're already fucking angry at Keir Starmer. He did indeed. Technically, it still exists for certain crimes. Certain ones. piracy at the high seas, any sort of threat or actual physical attempt on drug-eared bugger, or sausage fingers if you wish. I think that's the only two, but for everything else, yeah. Piracy on the high seas. And making an attempt on the monarch. Either him or fucking horseface. Sorry, Camilla, I don't care. I really shouldn't shame people for the way they look, but I don't like her. If you can't tell, I'm a Republican. So there's still that. That's the only two things that you can get done for treason. Technically, the punishment for that is hanging. Do we have a gallows? I'm not entirely sure. I'm sure there's a gallows somewhere. Yes. Fucking council tax, indeed. So they need to do a re-evaluation. No fucking government, either down in Westminster or up here, or in Wales, or in Northern Ireland, are going to fucking do that. Because the minute they fucking do that, all the lower bands, like, let's see, what cut-off will it be? D-band? Maybe E-band? E-band and below, they won't shift much. Me, band A, because one bedroom flat in the north of Glasgow. But my mum's D-band, my sister who lives in the East End, she's C-band, and my younger sister who still lives up in Perth is she's either the same as me, my younger sister, either A or B band. She might be B band actually, come to think of it. So we're all on the lower bands. So E and above, so F, G, H, I and K. They're all the higher band ones. We're talking about ones that are worth more than like 180. No. Anything above like 210,000 for the property and up, they'd be paying more council tax. Who votes? Who's in a property who might be in those higher bands? Well, I think it's about between 10 and 12%. That's not bad, depending on my rent is about a third. Fuck. Like, there is very few of us left. Like me and Super Hubby, this was a council house. We were council tenants before for the transfer over to Glasgow Housing Association. So I've got, my missive is with Glasgow City Council Housing Department. We managed to sneak in 6 or 7 months before it was fully concluded, and 18 months before the full transfer. So you're literally talking to a council tenant. Hi. We do exist. Been under being like us in the Yeah, Davinia, I feel for you, my dear. I do. And considering where you live, you're like us, you'd probably get really fucking cold at times. So are we. Because we are scum, apparently. We're not allowed to have decent heating. Fuck off. Well. 200,000? You don't need to say Omaha if you don't want to. Last year my gas and electric was 1,300. Fucking hell. Ours is about 860. Fuck. You're 500 more than us a year. Oh, darling. I feel for you. I really do. God, this country fucking sucks. No, like my sister's is 170, not 170, so basically 180. Both me and my younger sister, we're both essentially council tenants. Actually, my younger sister is a council tenant because it's still Preston Kinross council that she pays her rent to. My mum fully owns her house. She has done before the pandemic, so about I think 7 years she's owned her house. It's going to be my house. No. Don't get maudlin like that. Don't talk about your mum dying. She's immortal. She's going to live forever. My mum's still going. That's roughly... We're roughly 60 between them. We're about 30, 35 on both of them a month. Roughly.
Now, we're faced with a harsh reality whether or not to put more fuel into the boiler and switch it on, or leave it turned off and put more food on the table. And this isn't a decision that we should be faced with.
Well, next week our focus will be on immigration and integration. It's been a topic of much debate. So please do get in touch with your thoughts and stories by going to the webpage via the QR code on your screen if you're watching on the telly, or you can email us directly. The address is sundayshow@bbc.co.uk. Well, let's hear from our first panel of Holyrood hopefuls this morning.
Sorry about that. I got them mixed up. I thought Ross was the one that Laura was talking to. It's Jilly. No, Ross is here. Rejoice. Ginger Twink. And Based. Hi, Ross. That's Shirley Ann Somerville. She's SNP. I can't remember if he's Tory or Labour or Lib Dem. We'll find out.
From the SNP, I'm joined by Shirley Ann Somerville. Craig Hoy is here from the Conservatives, and Ross Greer is co-leader of the Scottish Greens. Morning to you all. Thanks very much for being here. We heard there from families struggling to afford.
Is it? Oh God, it's Craig Hoy. Fuck, thanks, Fuzzmaz.
For instance, to take their children away.
Rejoice, comrades. The resident philosopher. Hi, Scrubby. I didn't know you were originally from Rotherham. Nice one. Scrubby, do you prefer Rotherham or Crawley? At hell, you're back. Cool, shall we? I will say, I mentioned it in Kev's chat earlier on. Tangentially, I'm related to Shirley Ann. So she's from the same family as my gran, my mum's mum, before she got married. And she's from the same area that my gran grew up in. I'm sure Shirley Ann represents that area. For anyone curious, it's roughly Clackmannanshire, that sort of area. Between Perth and Stirling, essentially.
Can I maybe ask you all in turn, and we'll start with you, Shirley Ann Somerville. What immediate measure would you bring in to help families with the financial struggles that they're facing?
Well, we do know that families are struggling, and not indeed just families right across Scotland, but that's exactly why we're proposing
a
further extension for childcare. The SNP's already delivered it.
Stay hydrated, not necessarily with cider. Self-care is good care. Take meds if you need to take any. Stay based. Free Palestine, and laugh at Labour. And rejoice if we actually get rid of Stammer. I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? Good night, Black Barsky. Hi. Carry on, Shirley Ann.
Doubling of childcare, and we're looking to go further from that, from 9 months up until the end of primary school all year round. The £2 bus cap as well, right across the country, is very important. We've already delivered the scrapping of
problem, Davinia.
And a freezing of rail fares. And of course, we heard in that package, prices of food is hitting families hard, and that's exactly why we'll be bringing forward legislation, because of the public health implications of that, to try and protect people from some of the worst excesses of those increasing prices that they see.
Well, you cheated there because you gave us 4 things, but we'll come back to those in just a moment or two. One measure, Craig Hoy, that your party could bring forward immediately to help people.
Well, I think the biggest bill that many people watching the programme today face is the tax bill. So the Scottish Conservatives will cut tax for ordinary, hard-working Scottish families.
Let's see, list or constituency.
The personal allowance with a new zero rate. We will also make sure that those nurses and teachers who are going up the earning spectrum don't fall into the SNP's high tax regime. So we will also increase the upper threshold as well. And fundamentally, we'll simplify the tax system. Because if we can simplify tax, put more money back in people's pockets, then we can grow the Scottish economy. We also have to do that by cutting the out-of-control SNP benefits bill.
Ross Greer, to you, what one measure do you think make a difference to people's lives?
Craig Hoy list. For the South, oddly enough. The closer you get to the border, the more Tories you get voted in. You miss the fish and chips. You want some good fish and chips? Go to Perth or go to Anstruther if you're ever up here in Scotland. I can take you if you like. We both know it will. You look after yourself, darling. And give scritches to Popper. Is he? Are they Popper or are they kind of older? Give scritches to Doggo. Give scritches. Or throw the ball. Throw the ball.
Immediate.
The Greens would deliver universal free
Oh,
bus travel. Coming up on
darling.
half the population can already travel on the bus for free. It was the Greens who delivered free bus travel for young people, and we scrapped peak rail fares.
Correct.
Now, we did that in cooperation with the SNP, happy to admit that. But those were Green proposals that we put on the table and we secured. That's already saved families a fortune. We can go further. Countries like Malta and Luxembourg have universal free public transport. Parts of Australia are bringing it in now because of the fuel crisis that Donald Trump has caused. We can do the same here in Scotland and save people money on that daily commute.
But Ross, what do you say to constituents of mine who say that giving free bus travel that helps people in the central belt, where there are no buses in some parts of rural Scotland, they're paying their tax, they're paying their council tax, and they're
Public fucking ownership. If the councils are amenable to it and implement it with the help of the Scottish Executive, with the government in Edinburgh, your constituents can have that, Craig. They literally can. There is models for it as well. There's models for it for Norway. The vast majority of the north of Norway is sparsely populated, and they get decent, mostly free public transport. We can do it here. Oddly enough, it was mostly blonde in the schools that I went to. Don't get me wrong, we had gingers. There was ginger Scots in the schools I went to up in Perth. There is loads of gingers here in Glasgow. Loads of them. It is glorious to see. I love ginger hair, but I'm blonde. A lovely blonde, blue-haired, long-legged lassie who talks mostly bollocks according to some people. Citation needed.
not getting access to those bus services. It's not free, is it? Because it's paid for out of general taxation.
The challenge we've got with bus services outside the Central Belt, or the lack of bus services, is because of the Conservatives 40 years ago privatising
If that's
the bus network.
what
40
the government want to do with the money, Craig, we can do that.
Would bring our bus network back into public ownership, so we had democratic control, and we were running the routes that actually serve our communities, rather than the one that a handful of private companies make the most profit
But
from.
until you do that, isn't there the danger that it's the private companies who are the winners here, because the government will be handing over potentially millions of pounds to them?
We need to do both at the same time. I want to bring our buses back into public ownership as quickly as possible. The Greens are putting that forward at this election. But people need relief right now. They need
Rejoice, Talia Button is in the chat. Hi Talia, welcome. Mwah. Sunday show, which is on for an hour because election. Look at the gorgeousness. This is Ross Greer, co-leader of the Scottish Greens. I love this man so much. He's brilliant. And some of the policies that he introduced, fucking love them. Praise be my party leader, or co-leader. Gillian is great as well, by the way, so that's Gillian Mackay.
to save money right now. That's why the Greens delivered free bus travel for young people. It's why we would deliver universal free bus travel to help people through the cost of living, to help them with that daily commute.
Gillian, some of you talked about £2 bus fares. Is that Scotland-wide, no matter how far you're travelling?
Yes, it'll be Scotland-wide for any single trip that an individual goes
What will
on.
that mean for
for
train services, for instance?
Well, we have a wide variety of...
I have a Stream Deck on my throne wish list. Fuck it. Fuck it. Give me momentito. No pressure whatsoever. But it is good. Give me a minute. Where be Numpty first? Numpty. Give me my Discord. Like throne. Copy. Copy link. God damn it, copy the link, thank you. So we're up to 3. Me, Kev saying Malthusian scumfucks, and Tansky saying clip obsessed psychopaths. Yes. Go. Rejoice. Link to my throne. Again, no pressure. You can literally go over there and put things onto the wish list. Things you think this nutter needs for her setup.
Ways that people need to access travel. Some may not have a train station in their local vicinity, so they're going to use their buses. So, for example, from Dunfermline to Edinburgh, people will be saving more than £5 on a trip. That's going to make a big difference to constituents in Fife and right across Scotland. So it is important that we do encourage people to use public transport, whether it's on the rails, where we scrap peak rail fares and frozen fares, or whether it's with the £2 bus cap for buses. It's important we do that, and it also helps us tackle the cost of living, because people are struggling right now. They do need that help. And we can do that in a way just as we've already delivered in the Highlands and Islands for that £2 cap.
What would you say to those constituents of mine who have no access to a bus? You're giving them a benefit they can't utilise.
If we bring it into public ownership, we can put buses on the routes. Craig Hoy, what are you not fucking understanding? These Tory bastards. Communism went, fuck it, fuck it. Fuck it, where is it? That is literally his theory. Really was going to go a new fleet of hydrogen, was it? Half a mil each. Units on as one caught fire, because yeah, they had to be maintained very well. Yeah, it's kind of dangerous. Surrey in Kent last year following the successful Petrobras West Sussex Council, Surrey Council, Kent Council. That's not too bad. I hate them. They don't serve me well personally, and they don't serve parts of Glasgow as a whole. But First Glasgow, the first group that operates, they're the biggest operator here in Glasgow and the west of Scotland, oddly enough. They're actually they're ramping up their the use of electric buses here in Glasgow. Like the two main buses I've got that serve my route that I live on, the street that I live on, the 90 and the M3, they're both electric buses that they use in their fleets and their routes, essentially. And the three main ones that first operate, that connect the city centre to the west of the city and down to the south and to the east, but not to the northeast, where I live. They're all electric buses as well. There are still some routes that use either diesel or petrol buses. Mostly diesel, oddly enough. Every bus are 420. Yeah, both my nephews have free bus passes. They're both under 22, by the way. They're teenagers. They love their bus passes. And it's taken a pressure off my younger sister and my mum. But they still call up, Granny, can you come and pick me up, please? They try to call their mum sometimes to do it, but she's usually out in the community. She's a nurse. She's a community nurse. One of them literally done that last year. Said, Mum, can you come and pick me up? I can't, I'm at fucking work. Call your gran. Or call your granddad. We don't call their dad anymore. He's a bit busy, he's a mechanic. But literally my sister, there's every possibility that she's not even in Perth. She's about 30 or 40 miles north of Perth. I said, I can't fucking pick you up. I'm up in Pitlochry, for fuck's sake. And yes, she does swear to her boys. The bus service in Perth isn't too bad. Stagecoach, I used to think they were fucking villains, but they're actually treating their home city of Perth quite well now. First. Because First Glasgow suck. Yeah.
Well, that's exactly why there are powers already in legislation to ensure that the franchising of buses is something that can be looked at, and some parts of Scotland are looking at that.
But it's national.
Shirley Ann, please, my darling. Lots of us who vote for you and your constituents, I've literally emailed my MSP about this. Bob Doris, by the way, he is SNP. Do the Edinburgh model. Most of the buses in the capital are council controlled. They're in public hands, and they're cheap as fuck. I don't need to worry about paying, obviously, bus pass. But yeah, other people who do have to pay for the buses, First Glasgow are basically scalping the travellers here in Glasgow. People who go to work who don't drive. Because why would you want to drive in Glasgow? There's fucking nutters on the roads here. Trust me, I know. I've used to drive in Glasgow, so no, not doing it. So yeah, bring it in public control, give it back to the people. If the Scottish Government need to talk about that, the council building is literally a 10-minute drive away from Holyrood. You can go and talk to the council about this in Edinburgh, and they can say this is the model that every city here in Scotland should be using, especially the biggest one. Just give me fucking better fucking transport. I beg of you. I'm sick of First Glasgow. You're more than welcome, Michael. If I do start digging the ditch if Manfrog gets into number 10, I've got 3 of yous now in the northeast. One of them is already planning on moving up here. He was in the chat there earlier on, I think. Or was that the video I was watching from yesterday? Brody, can you hear me? We have Brody, we have Reza, and now we have you. Hee hee hee. Trust me, I want it for yous. I really fucking do. The Westminster government have treated us poorly for fucking decades. Even before her. You're too northern. Get wrecked. And you treat us like crap as well. Seriously, fuck off. You're in danger of, like, we've already stopped fucking voting for you, mostly. Even though in the last general election, screeds of fucking Scottish and Glaswegian people voted the Labour and said, you have to vote for us because we have to get rid of the Tories. You live in Scotland, vote for the SNP.
That's no comfort to somebody who has no bus.
Well, I think it's very important that we ensure that we have a credible policy, and with the best of respect to Ross, who does like to claim credit for everything that worked well when we had cooperation, but absolutely has nothing to do with anything else that was there when we were in.
Oh, Shirley, please. There was only one, maybe 2 policies that didn't work out. And you have to remember, your major cabinet ministers, like, mostly yourself as well, but we're literally supporting the 2 failed ones. You adopted the rest of them while you were in partnership. The Butte House Agreement, by the way, is when the SNP and Greens were in a coalition government. There was only 2 out of 15 different things of legislation. So there was 15 points of legislation that they actually helped to spearhead. Praise be Maggie Chapman, she's awesome. And so was Ross, and so was Gillian. There was only 2 failed ones, just 2, because you didn't listen to the people in the Scottish Greens. You're choosing the wrong model. You should have went with the German model for the glass recycling, or the deposit scheme. You should have just said to the Germans, can you come and help us implement that? And they would have agreed totally, of course. You went for a more stupid model, which wouldn't have worked.
Government. We did work together on these things, but the First Minister, John Swinney, is the only person who is genuinely has an opportunity to be First Minister. Our policy package on this and others is credible and it's deliverable, and that's exactly what we've done in the past, and it's exactly what the First Minister is offering in this election.
Let me just explore just a little bit that other policy that you mentioned there about supermarket prices. How would that work in practice?
Well, there is a public health challenge that many people have, and I've seen that on the doorsteps as I've went around in
Welcome back,
this
my dear.
campaign. People are struggling right now with the price of food, and they're having to make different choices from that. It's a public health issue and a nutritional challenge that we have in Scotland.
You're talking about bringing bread prices down, for instance. How much? By how much?
Well, I'm not going to sit here and actually design the policy and each specific essential
got to be
good
thought through,
on here.
clearly.
No, we'll do it in consultation because that's what credible governments do.
The
They do
consultation
these
takes
things in
time, so when
consultation.
will a loaf get cheaper, for instance?
So we've already said that the legislation will be one of the first things that we'll bring through in the first year of the government. We're very keen to work with stakeholders and very keen to work with the people who I've been speaking.
It is indeed, my dear. Rejoice, comrades, orchestran, in the chat. Hi, darling. Yes, it is indeed, Shirley Ann Somerville. Correct, Fuzzmas. The legislation hasn't been written. We have to go through the consultation process. It's not like the wild fucking legislation that barely got discussed when Boris was in charge down in Westminster. Yes, rejoice, orchestran. My lovely darling lives quite near to me. And I still haven't fucking met her. We really need to get together, my dear. Which is mental, considering how far you're not that far away from me. My God, there's coffee shops we could meet in. And I can see your dog, your pupper. Yay. I don't need my glasses on. I'll put them on anyway to show everyone. I still can't find my bloody shades. Not that I'm needing them. It's been pissing down for most of the weekend. Rejoice, your lass has her glasses on for a change. Carry on, Shirley.
In the door, who are struggling with the cost of their daily
But minimum
shop.
unit pricing, for instance, which was a public health measure, took 5 years in the courts before you were able to enact that fully. The same could
Because Diageo and a couple of manufacturers who are literally based here in Glasgow were being kind of pissy about it. Don't get me wrong, I don't like unit pricing. And the goal of that was to stop people like me, the poors of the city, the poors of the country, stopping drinking. Yeah, you failed. If someone's going to drink, they're going to fucking drink. We're going to pay the price and get the fucking booze. Just saying. Better public outreach, better public policy, health proposals about it, and saying the reason why people drink. Haha, good luck with that one with me. I use it as a painkiller because you don't give me anything else. I can't go back onto the NSAIDs, and I definitely can't go back onto the opioids. No. So I am naughty. I use alcohol as a painkiller, which is dangerous. Don't worry, I take breaks. Microclip. Literally, yeah, Omaha, correct. What microclimate are you in? Good point, darling. Anyone isn't let us sort it out of ourselves at Westminster, and exactly. But we're not allowed to have that, my dear. Apparently. Carry on doing what you're doing. You're just going to piss us off more. And we will get louder and louder. We will. Trust me on that. I know the Scottish people. Trust me, I am Scottish people. So is Orchestran. So is Fuzzmuzz. So is Idiosyncrasy. Yeah. So is Dan McLeith. And to a certain extent, in Omaha, it was born up Scottish. You know what we're like? Didn't piss us off. Trust me, not worth it. You're in danger of losing one of your oldest, most established colonies. Denny treading the thistle. Vote green. Yes, vote for the Greens. Exactly. Thank you, Omaha. Carry on, Shirley.
Well, what minimum unit pricing has delivered is a public health benefit, and
I'm talking more about the timing here in terms of something that can immediately make a difference.
And we've now seen through minimum unit pricing that the powers can.
Public ownership, incredibly easy. I do like the SNP to a certain extent, don't get me wrong. I am still a communist, don't worry. Did you, darling? Nice one. How close are you to a pillar box anyway? Like, my pillar box, my local post box is a further walk than my actual polling station. My polling station is a primary school. You know what primary school? You know where I am. So that's literally where my polling station is, which is literally 5 minutes walk from me. My pillar box, my post box is like a 10-minute walk away from me. Up that way, kind of. I want to start indoor gardening for painkillers. I don't know what you're talking about, Omaha. I really don't. The drug policy of this country is fucking wank. Your polling station's your old primary school. The polling station where I grew up is my primary school, and it is still the polling station. Because knowing that all my cousins we're all older now, we don't go to primary school. My primary school was Lethem Primary, and it's still a polling station. That was one of the first votes that my younger sister made. Was in her old primary school. Hawkeye Rios went live. Been a while, my dude. My comrade.
Can be used within Scotland. They can.
Has it been knocked down?
So we have that precedent there. People see how these things can actually be delivered in practice, and that's why we're very keen to get on. But you're right, it will require legislation, which is why it's on top of the other measures which we're already talking about, around childcare, about bus fare, around rail travel, and support with the energy costs through our winter heating packages that will make a difference to people right here and now.
Yeah, absolutely. But Craig Hoy, we know that the UK government is preparing for what they're talking about worst case scenario of potential food shortages this summer. That's down to the situation that we've got in the Middle East. Isn't this the sort of practical measure that people want to hear from politicians? The idea that actually their food might get cheaper?
It's a glib gimmick and a giveaway, but unfortunately it's not practical, it's not reasonable. You haven't consulted with the supermarkets. You're going to drag us back to the 1970s where we have price controls. But ultimately, I suspect what this policy is really all about.
We had price controls so people could actually fucking eat. You absolute stain on humanity. Christ, I hate Tories so fucking much. Ugh. There was a reason they fucking done that. That shock because of the Middle East oil crisis that was basically manufactured by the States and us to a certain extent. Thank you, global capitalism. It fucking sucks. 16. Oh Christ, my dear. That's why I have cheese and oatcakes in the cup. Well, cheese is in the fridge, and oatcakes in the cupboard, and toast rolls, either that or noodles, like miso. I do like miso. Miso is tasty. Ideally, my favourite snack would be sushi, oddly enough. Not enough room in the fridge. Filled up with other stuff. Mostly veg, actually. Correct, Omaha. Tax people like Craig. That might work. But you can't. I'm here to make sure the country runs well. No, you're fucking not. You're a Tory bastard. You're there for your own self-interest, essentially. Well, maybe not your own self-interest, but for the interest of your section of society. So no, get right. You're all posh, rich bastards, and you need taxed more.
It's not about reducing the cost of a basket of groceries. It's about increasing constitutional division, because all of a sudden there'll be another confected row with the UK government that may end up in the courts. So John Swinney's not wanting...
Confected row? You literally blocked us from doing legislation which was in our in the SNP manifesto. So no, get right. You literally done a Section 32 on us. Section 35 is when they actually say, no, you're not doing that anymore, and take away that fucking devolved power. Section 32 said, no. That's against the Devolution Act. No, it fucking isn't. This is convicted. So, no, Craig. Get wrecked. You're talking bollocks. You literally took away the powers that... You literally denied the powers that we have that got devolved to us. That was about the drug use rooms. The safe consumption rooms, essentially. And they used our the SNP legislation around gender recognition as well. So the Tories and Labour can both get fucked. You're literally stopping us from doing legislation here in our own rights. Watch out, if they ever actually start mentioning that they're going to use 35. Don't make me start literally screaming on my stream. It's bad enough as it is. Oh no, the Section 32 saying you're not allowed to do that, that conflicts with UK legislation, which it really doesn't fucking matter. Why devolve it to us? Section 35 means, no, you're not allowed to do that. That's not within your devolved rights. And yes, it is. You devolved this, we can do this if we want, due to the Devolution Act that we signed. So if they use Section 35, this lass here is going to get really fucking angry. Oh, you get that? I'm getting that as well on ones that I'm not subbed to, darling. It's annoying, isn't it? It's usually the last one before you escape at hell. That's why most of the ones I actually visit or either raid into, Kev, Helena when she's on Twitch, Xertes, Raptor Blue, Capricorn, or Juntendo, or Complain Eleni. I'm all subbed to them, so I avoid all that. Like, don't get me wrong, most of the ads that we get here in the UK are mostly useless. But that Twitch Turbo one really fucking annoys me. I ain't paying your £17 a month. Trust me, I'd rather just give the money directly to the fucking streamer, not to Twitch. I'm here on the good graces of Twitch, after all. But they can't force me to do that shit if I don't want to.
To feed Scots, he's wanting to feed the division that he hopes will still some victory for the SNP, because ultimately he's obsessed with...
Who's causing the division? It's all the fucking arse legislation that your party and fucking Labour are doing down in Westminster that are pissing us off. Who's fueling the division? You're making us more angry, saying, why the fuck are you not letting us do this shit? And why is our funding being cut? The Barnett formula can go and do one. Literally. I despise the Barnett formula. I do. Super Hubby's got a great way of actually doing that. All taxes raised, I mean all of them, raised here in Scotland should come to the Scottish people. They won't do that. They won't. They'd literally be taking away about a third of the tax from the country. We pay in more than we get back, by the way. They keep on forgetting to say that. I don't. I say it. I let everyone fucking know that. We pay in more to the Treasury than we get back from them. It's been like that since devolution. It's been like that for fucking decades. Really. We pay in more than we get back from them. It's the only ad I see. Holy fuck, Davinia. You poor darling. That one does kind of grate. It's really fucking tedious, isn't it? I do kind of like the tune, but no, fuck, Twitch, no. Just fuck off.
With independence.
John Swinney is out there listening to the people and asking the question
Correct,
what they
darling.
want to see, and
We
they
do,
want to
yeah.
see help with their grocery bill, and he's delivering that.
But he's
Now,
not,
if
because you
people
don't know how you're going to do it. But surely you don't know how to do it.
Let me ask Ross.
Tell me you're going to do it, but you don't know how to do it. You don't know how to do
We're
it.
brave enough to do so.
We'll just take a breath. Let me ask Ross Greer. You've talked about supporting the SNP in the past on policies that you agree with. Is this one that you could support in terms of legislation?
The Greens are in favour of price controls in principle. The balance that needs to be struck is making sure that the likes of farmers, fishers, those who are producing the food get a fair deal, and consumers get a fair deal.
We know when it comes to milk that farmers already feel as though the milk is being sold at a relatively no profit.
The problem is in the middle. The problem is we've got supermarkets making obscene profits, not giving a fair deal to producers, farmers, fishers, etc., and not giving a fair deal to the consumers buying it. If we can design a policy that actually targets the supermarkets effectively, reins in the huge profits they're making at everyone else's expense, of course the Greens would support that. We are in favour of making sure that ordinary people get a fair deal, whatever end of, in this case, the food supply they're part of.
Let's talk about fuel poverty, because a lot of people are struggling on that front. 34% of households in fuel poverty, between 17 and 19.5% are in extreme fuel poverty. Your party, Craig Hoy, makes a big deal about cutting the benefits bill. Will the winter fuel payment, for instance, stay if the Tories are in power?
Well, the winter fuel payment remained right throughout a series of Conservative administrations during very adverse economic and fiscal times. It was the...
Hang on, I'll bring up... I'll get access to my actual YouTube chat. What the... Is that better? Am I in a frame drop there? Sorry about that. Do no. There I'm there. Am I in a frame drop there? Sorry about that. Boo. There we go. Hello YouTube. I can see your chats. Hi. Being neglectful of you, I do apologise.
That actually ended up taking it away. Our manifesto.
But when you talk about cutting back on welfare, is that one of the things that's on your side?
Our manifesto has a commitment to use the Scotland monies, which is being frittered away by the SNP, to give £100 a year.
Frittered away. Student fees, what are those? Peak rail capped or doesn't exist. Publicly owned water. Free prescriptions. Free eye tests. Are you away? Oh, stay hydrated, not necessarily with cider. Self-care is good care. Oh, it just... Take your meds if you need to. If you need to take any. Stay based. Free Palestine. And if any Tory or Labour wank chaps on your door, Fosmas, just tell them to piss off. I'll challenge them if you wish. Good night. I will catch you later. Good night, Fosmas. Base Scott. There seems to be a lot of us in Kevin Elena's chat, oddly enough. And there's lots of views here in my chat as well. I'm a magnet for all Scottish people. Good.
A reduction in everybody's energy bill. We're also committed to making sure that we get rid of some of those green levies that are forcing up energy bills. Ultimately, the best way for us to make Scots better off is to give them more of their own money back, and that's why we're also making a commitment in our manifesto to give pensioners £500 back of the tax that they pay on their small occupational pensions above and beyond their state pension.
Yeah. There's no point in our area, my dear. The last one that actually chapped on my door, on our door here, was wasn't 15. It was 2010, and oddly enough, it was a Tory, because they thought the polls were looking good for them here in the north of Glasgow, which is fucking mental. And they chapped on our door. We're the one, because we're O2, we're on the ground floor. We're the buzzer that gets used the most to get for people coming into the close. And he said, "Canvassers, can you let us in?" And I thought, fuck it, why not? Let's see who it is. And they chapped our door first and got me. Ah. Saying, don't you think it would be better if you had a Tory representative down in Westminster? No, not really. Oh, by the way, I'm a Marxist. At that point, I was in the Scottish Greens. I was in Labour. I said, not really, no. I vote SNP. I am a Labour member, but I vote SNP. I don't really do much. I've got my voting rights and that's it. But no, I would never vote for yous. Ever. And at that point, I called Super Hubby. Darling, we've got canvassers. And he came out of the living room, and I calmly said, hello, who are yous? We are Tories. We're campaigning in your area. Oh, rejoice, comrades, idiosyncrasy is in the chat. Hello, idio. How are you? I have my postal phone. I just need to post it. Good. Nice one. You do not need to say it is a secret ballot for a reason. If you want to say who you voted for, you can, but don't feel pressured to do so. I want everyone far and wide to know SNP for the constituency, green on the list. I would urge every Scottish voter to do that. Or if it's not, well, SNP for the constituency is pretty easy in most of the constituencies here in Scotland. But for the list, if you need to keep out either Reform or any of the other bastards, including Craig Hoy's party, the Tories or Labour or Lib Dems, oh Christ. SNP Green. Round of applause for idiosyncrasy. Good, good. Nice one.
What Craig doesn't tell you is then exactly where the money's going to come from.
I could tell you exactly where the money's coming from.
You can tell us that.
He'll take money away and...
The money's going to come from cutting benefits. Introducing student fees. Trust me, Craig, I know exactly what your party would do in government. And that's not going to fucking happen. Your own party leader is in risk of losing his fucking constituency. Get wrecked, Russell. You're gubbed. Ah! No other choice from what you see. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, there is options here for... The polling for Labour in this specific constituency that I'm now in, so that my constituency for Holyrood has changed, has been lopped in half. My current MSP, well, he's not an MSP anymore because of campaigning. He's been shifted to the west in that direction. Maryhill and Kelvin. We've got a new one, and the one running for it isn't actually, he was a cabinet member for the SNP, Ivan McKee. But the polling for Labour, it's not quite on a knife edge, but it's looking at it might either still stick with the SNP and Ivan gets voted back in, or Labour, which would be Paul Sweeney, who's a young Labour dude. So it's a straight up battle between Ivan McKee and Paul Sweeney, essentially. And because of the new boundaries, the other areas towards the east vote more Labour. Do you know? Yeah, I didn't like him either. You don't need to worry about him. So you'll still have Bob, and the polling for Bob is looking quite good. He should get voted back in, by the way. Much to my disappointment, I'd want Iris, who is the Green candidate running against Bob Doris. He is a snake. I don't like him. Yeah. If anyone would like to see Paul Sweeney, we'll show him. I like Bob as well. Bob is good. I've met Bob. He's a good dude.
This tax giveaway that we'll put forward in a non-costed manifesto, and not say where the money's coming from.
Have you read the IFS's critique of you? The IFS, £1.4 billion you need to find, Sherry.
Not actually tell pensioners whether the money's coming from them. Not tell people that are disabled or carers whether they're going to lose money. that it's all about a giveaway, and there's no honesty about
There's
where
absolute
those
clarity.
cuts will
How do
actually
you
come. And
alleviate
there
fuel
needs
You
to be
scared? How
cuts.
the fuck did you scare
most
Bob?
effective way that we can alleviate fuel poverty with the powers the
You have to
Scottish
tell me more
Government
about
has
that,
right now is
my
through helping
darling.
people
Fucking
insulate
hell.
their homes. So giving them grants, giving them loans to make sure their homes require as little power as possible to heat in the first place. And for the homes it works, we can swap out gas boilers for heat pumps. That's why the Greens would give far more financial support to families to do that. Gas is only going to get more and more and more expensive. Electricity from renewables is only getting cheaper. The more money we put into helping people make that switch, heating their homes using electricity via a heat pump rather than through a gas boiler.
What about those who are on heating oil? We heard from Ursula on Arran. She's talking about families where both parents are working but still struggling because the cost of heating oil has risen by huge amounts.
And I've
You're welcome, my darling. I'm always here. You know where to find me. Stay hydrated, not necessarily with cider. Self-care is good care. Take your meds. Stay based. Free Palestine. And I'll keep my fingers crossed for Iris, and you can keep your fingers crossed for Bob. But it looks like Bob Doris is going to win anyway. Oh, fingers crossed for that, my dear. If he does, he or she, I can't remember. I hope Doggo doesn't do that to you, darling. I really do. Night night. Bye bye. I'll catch you later, my dear. Mwah. I hope she doesn't do that. I really don't. I still need to meet her. And yourself, my dear. So yeah, good night. Have a good sleep. And I'll talk to you later. Night night.
What do you do in that situation?
I've represented Ireland in the Parliament for a decade, so I'm well aware of those issues. The key thing, particularly in those kind of homes, is making sure they're as well insulated as possible. The quality of housing in Scotland is unfortunately really quite low. People need money to help them with insulation, wall cavity insulation, better quality windows, etc. So they're using very little power
Correct.
in the first
Well
place.
said, Ross.
The good thing about putting money into areas like that is it also creates high quality jobs. We need a workforce to deliver that. We see in other countries how well this is working. So we can create high quality jobs in manufacturing, in installation, and we are helping people save money on their bills right now. The big frustration is that big powers over energy are reserved to the UK Parliament and government. They use the energy system to maximise the profits of a handful of big multinational companies, not to give people the cheap energy that they need right now. If we had the powers of a normal nation here in Scotland, we could rewire the whole energy network, the whole energy system. At the moment, that's held by West.
Did he actually say that? I don't know why you would say that. The history teachers are really fucking important. Sociography teachers, obviously, darling. Gold blooming. For those of you who get that reference, well done. Nerds and old bods get that one. Well done, Andy. Oh, you're giving me all kinds of flashbacks now, thanks. It would be a good idea for you to actually quit. I wouldn't be forceful about it. But yeah. Ross is correct. Actually insulating the homes of the country, of Scotland, would be good. Mine's is semi-fixed now, kind of. Quid? What is that? Oh yeah, I know that. So my primary school teacher, she was primarily history at primary school level. She was a history teacher at secondary. Then when she changed, she wanted to teach the younger generation, so she done primary school. But she was a history teacher. Her husband, who was my geography teacher at secondary school, which is fun to think about. I loved both of them. They were fucking amazing. He was social studies, wasn't he? If I remember correctly. By the way, Phil Morehouse is a different bias, and he is completely fucking stammer-pilled. If his beloved Keir has to step down, it's going to be fun. Was he geography? Thanks, Andy. I keep on forgetting. I thought he was social studies. Did you? Oh, Christ. Well, I followed in the footsteps of my parents, who were both basically science science coded biology degree essentially. Both my sisters, my middle sister, the applied biomed and biochem. Younger sister's a nurse and she's doing another nursing degree so she can get band 7 prescribing powers for anyone who's interested. Mum, midwife and a sister and family planning nurse and teenage health, sexual health. My dad was a nuclear engineer. He worked at Vaseline. Your dad wrote a geography textbook? What the fuck? Your dad is based. Praise be Orchestran's dad. Yeah. I need to talk to you, darling. We'll do it later on in the day. I'll call you later on so we can talk about something. I don't use this one. Sociology. That's why I thought you was sociology or the social studies and politics. Ah. I can't. I don't know if Supertan or Graham Hughes. Does Femi have a degree? I don't know if they have degrees. I would assume they do. I think Supertan does. I would assume Femi does. Yeah, it's probably the implication, yeah. Or the way he talks about it on his channel, you're fooled into thinking he's either sociology or politics as a teacher. That's why I thought he was social studies. I don't know.
With the powers the Scottish Parliament has, though, it's about insulating homes to reduce bills.
Let me ask you about fuel duty as well. The Chancellor has plans to raise fuel duty. Of course, it's been frozen since 2011. It should start rising this year, although we're to wait to get a proper...
You do your degree, whatever it's in. So I got my degree. I got my BSc essentially, and I could do the PGCE, which is basically you get sent to Kelvin Hill or Jordan to do your teaching degree. Essentially, it's in addition to whatever degree you've got in whatever fucking area. So I'd probably be doing either health or biology, mostly health, either health studies. I'd be doing. So my sister was going to do that, and she'd be straight biology, because she done the applied biomed and biochem as her degree. I asked my younger sister, would you want to become a teacher? And she said, fuck off, no. I don't want to meet a student who was like me. She's got a point. I was a little darling. I was the perfect little student. Like a goody two-shoes or a teacher's pet, if you wish. Maybe. My dad was a lecturer at the Naval College here in Glasgow. In engineering, nuclear engineering and maintenance of submarines and other warships and shit. My dad was really intelligent. He might have been a raging fucking alcoholic, but he knew his job. He knew his degree and what he was basically doing. Was he a trainer at Jordan Hill? Sweet. Nice one. Oh my god. When would if I wanted to go into teaching after I got my degree, if I actually just stayed and got it straight back then, I would have went to Jordan Hill in like 05 or 06. Was your dad there in 05 or 06, darling? If he was, I might have met him. I was actually thinking of becoming a teacher. Which would have been fucking hilarious, really. He was more social geography. I get that.
pronouncement from the Chancellor. Does she need to think again, Craig?
I think so, because if you look at what's happened to fuel as a result of the war in Iran, it's quite clear that there's been a very significant increase. It's quite clear there's a very significant increase, and therefore there is obviously the duty that is coming off the back of those increased prices. So I would say that a point to pause before they proceed with any further increase in any taxes, because I think at this point in time, this is an election that is about the cost of living.
Well, absolutely.
People feel like they're paying too much in tax.
We need to be taxing people more so we can fund things to reduce the pressure of the cost of living. Craig Hoy, you Tory bastards, fucking hell, just fucking end me. A government is meant to be providing to help the fucking populace. Not that you'd give a fuck about that, because you're a Tory. It is better to keep people in relative comfort and not have to worry about outside shocks or anything happening in the wider country, wider society. God, my brain hurts. Fucking hell. You give people a good standard of living, provide all the necessary services, have them in public hands, free at the point of use. We pay it through taxation, and we should be taxing bastards like yourself. Oh God, my brain hurts. Fucking hell.
Like transport, which both of these
people
parties
feel like
are
they're paying too much in tax. And I go back to the earlier point, Gary, it's not free public transport, it's paid for out of taxation. And I spoke to a constituent of mine in South.
Free at the point of use, paid through by fucking taxation. What are you not understanding, you Tory ghoul?
Recently, who said he pays his tax, he pays for his van, he pays for his car, all of those things. And at the end of the month, he's left with very little. He looks across the road and sees a household where nobody's working, and somehow they seem better off. We need to reset the clock here on the balance between tax, benefits and the way we fund public services.
Can we just be really clear, because Craig is again pandering to this thing that we're seeing a lot in this debate about othering people who don't work, or migrants, or the disabled, and we need to be really clear about this. What the Joseph Rowntree Foundation and others have said is those that are out of work and on benefits, or those indeed that are in work are on benefits, cannot afford the essentials of life. That's what the reserved UK benefit system gives them. So let's not other that family. No, I'm afraid you are, and it's every single
organisation. You may not be able to give them what you want either, because of course there's this £5 billion problem with the Scottish Government's budget. You've been in power for 19 years, in the next Parliament that needs to be dealt with.
Well, we've always balanced the budget when we've been in government,
and
that is absolutely demonstrated by the prudent fiscal management that the credit rating agencies have demonstrated in their summation about Scotland and about the Scottish Government. So we will always balance the budget, just as we've done in the past. But what I won't do is say that we'll balance a budget on the back of the most vulnerable in society, whether it's the disabled or the carers or those on low income or that family that we always tokenistically talk about that are out of work.
The question is then, how are you going to balance the budget? Is it £5 billion worth, or 6.4 now with your additional pledges, £6.4 billion worth of tax rises on ordinary hard-working families, or is it £6.4 billion worth of cuts to services that you don't think are essential?
Well, we've always been very clear about the fact that we'll support everybody in Scotland, including the most vulnerable, unlike Craig. But we've also said in our manifesto that the tax rates that we have, we do not tend to increase or intend to add to. And that's very important reassuring we can give to others.
There's no plan. It was a very simple question.
And we will do exactly what we've done every single year, which is balance the budget and make sure that we're delivering for Scots right across the country.
The top 2% households in this country have more wealth than half the population combined. We need to pay for our public services. We need to fill.
I've seen Uglier, don't get me wrong, but yeah, he's ugly for his stances and stuff. Yeah, Minger. One of the ones that used to be used in schools back in the day, I don't know if that still happens, I don't think it does, I hope it fucking doesn't happen. he would. There was every possibility that Ross would have been called a ginger minger. No, get wrecked. I love ginger hair. I love ginger people, and look at him. Ross is a wee cutie. I really shouldn't infantilise him like that. I love this individual. I love him so much. Some of the policy proposals that him and Gillian have came up with in the wider Scottish Green movement, including myself. Brilliant. Based. Love it. Want all of it to happen. Oh, I'm sure you and Ross would get on well. Yeah.
That gap in public finances, the very, very wealthiest are the ones who should be paying more. They're not yet paying their fair share. That's why the Greens have put forward proposals in our manifesto to make sure the very richest people in our society pay to provide the public services that everyone relies on.
I want to ask about council tax as well, because we heard there from Hazel in Aberdeen talking about big rises in council tax in the last couple of years, well above inflation for most people, on average maybe somewhere around 8 or 9%. She asked, when are politicians going to tackle it? Again, you've been in power, Charlotte, in Somerville for 19 years. You came into power in 2007 saying that you would tackle this, but you haven't.
So council tax in Scotland on average, as well as water bills, are lower here in Scotland than they are in the rest of the UK. So we've been very...
Is that much relief, given it went up by almost 10%?
Well, we've been very stringent.
I'll be back in 2 minutes, thank you. I return. Hello. I do apologise, sorry about that.
In the fact that we do
Aha!
want to ensure
Socks.
that we understand people in a cost of living crisis, and indeed any here, want to see the Scottish Government ensuring that bills are as low as they can be.
And does that mean reform of the council tax in the next Parliament?
So reform of the council tax is an important issue, and it's a challenging issue because although everyone agrees there should be reform, when we actually get down to the nuts and bolts of delivering that, there's no consensus in a parliament of minorities about how that should be. And that is a genuine challenge that we will all have to rise to the occasion for it in the next parliament. But while we do so, we continue to have what we've delivered in the past, which is lower council tax bills on average in Scotland than in
Well, as I say,
England.
they've gone up for the last 2 years, but Craig Hoy, can you find consensus on this?
Well, the fundamental problem is that year after year after year, the SNP government, despite getting real terms increases in their budget from Westminster through the Barnett formula, have cut.
Fuck off. Austerity brought by your party, so get wrecked, Craig. Seriously, fuck off. Our block grant has went down because of austerity due to the Barnett consequentials. You should know that. I'm sure he does know it, and he doesn't give a fuck. Our real-time funding has literally went down. It's been reduced by about either a third or half. Essentially, either 33 or about 45 or 50%, essentially. So no, get wrecked. You're talking bollocks. Our real-time funding has went down, so we have to do more with less money. But you and Labour and Lib Dems literally set up the way how it would work up here. You literally rigged the way the Parliament was meant to work. I hate these bastards. I really fucking do. If they don't know this, they're incompetent and they shouldn't be in Parliament. But I'm saying they do know this and they don't give a fuck. They're just being evil. They're doing it for ideological reasons. I just think it. Yeah. No, Craig. I will counter you at every fucking turn.
In real terms, the contribution to local government, about 80%. About 80% of local government budget comes through the Scottish Government, and because that's not one of your priorities, you put that money elsewhere.
But I'm asking you
councils are being
about
asked.
reform
Councils are being
because
asked to do more.
a poll carried out by
less.
YouGov on behalf of Tax Justice Scotland in January of this year suggested 56% of Scots support reforming council tax in the next Parliament. Do you have proposals?
Well, what we've said is we want to have a fair funding formula, so we will basically hypothecate what comes in the Barnett formula, so that
that's not about council tax, Craig. You're avoiding the question.
Well, no, it's not.
Council
because basically
tax.
we get a fair funding formula. Once that's in place, then we can look at the situation and see how do we fund.
What does he mean by a fair funding formula? He wants to change how the Barnett formula works. Mark my words, if they ever get back into power, especially up here in Scotland, or especially down in Westminster, if anyone like the Tory party, essentially the Conservative and Unionist Party, are literally dying at this point, rejoice. It is good to see. Unfortunately, Tories 2.0, they do exist. Again, Thatcherites, can we not get rid of these fucking bastards? The Brythonic nations here in the UK, we don't vote for you mostly. But because we're a minority, we've got lower populations. Vast majority of the governments that we've had since I've been alive, and quite possibly since my mum's been alive, have all been bastard governments. Yeah. Make it in chat, please, I beg of you.
Local authorities, but first and foremost, we need to make sure that the money the Scottish Government gets for local government goes to local government, and that as much.
It does, you absolute fucking twat. Oh. Like I said, we're trying to do more with less money because of your fucking party when they were in government. and governments across the ages since Holyrood started, the Barnett formula fucking sucks. We have done well, don't get me wrong, but the funding model is literally breaking before our very fucking eyes. It's just going to get worse from here on out. We're just going to start screaming, give us our fucking country, you bunch of neoliberal fucking bastards.
Well, we've said we would cut the benefits bill. We're quite clear on that.
Punching down at disabled people again.
Craig, leave me the fuck alone. Do not come after my benefit, you absolute fucking monster. No violence, please. No violence. Feel free to shout at them if you want, though. Craig, you're a ghoul. Get right and just fuck off.
We're encouraging people into work, Shirley.
Let me ask Ross a
being in or
question.
out of work.
You have plans to scrap the council tax, replace it with a residential property tax, which is based on home values, and that would lead to an immediate revaluation exercise.
Yes.
So do you have to be honest with the public here that actually for some people they're going to be paying more, maybe substantially more?
The current council tax system is comically broken. It's not been in date in my lifetime. The last time it was accurate was 1991. So most people in Scotland are paying the wrong rate of council tax right now, and it's generally poorer households are paying more than they should, and the richest are paying less. They're getting off with a steal from this system that is that broken. So the Greens would replace council tax. You're right. The first step is if we have a tax system based on properties, we need accurate property values. The Greens put forward...
there hasn't been a revaluation.
Never underestimate the psychopaths who govern us, and then they will still surprise you. Yeah. Thank you, Michael. Correct. I'm deeply cynical. I'm not surprised that much. Don't get me wrong, I still get surprised some of the shit that happens, especially in UK politics. But yeah. A demented fucking psychopath in the Oval Office. I'm pretty sure I'm out surprised now. I'm just, that's what you would do. He's a narcissistic psychopath. He shouldn't be president. He really fucking shouldn't be. And Keir Starmer, maybe not a psychopath, but a morally corrupt serial liar. We need to get rid of these bastards, really fucking do. I just want them out of politics. Go away, do whatever the fuck you want. Just get the fuck out of our politics. Stop running our country into the fucking ground and stop pissing me off. I'm getting more angry by the day, by the way, with this government, and especially the Tories and Labour up here in Scotland and Holyrood. If they manage to piss me off and get me that fucking activated, dear God, they're screwed. Nerd. Rejoice, comrade. It's the Morton. Hi, Morton. Look. Delicious ginger twink. Praise be Ross Greer. There's a Tory and an SNP as well. That Gary Robertson. This is the Sun show, as you can see. Praise be, it's the Morton.
Since 1991. The Greens put forward a proposal to do that last year. Every other party voted against it, apart from the Lib Dems.
Potentially substantially.
Those living in the biggest houses, the most valuable houses, probably would pay more. The key thing is the Greens would give control over this to councils. I don't think it should be up to MSPs in Edinburgh to decide what Murray's council tax is or what Dumfries and Galloway's council tax is. It would be up to them, but we would create a system that is far fairer. The richest people in the biggest houses are getting off with an absolute steal. It's the poorest who are paying far more than they should. The Greens have a proposal to fix that. Other parties are welcome to come on board. Nobody can justify a system based on 91 valuations where most people pay the wrong rate. If most people are paying the wrong rate of income tax, it would be a scandal.
For those of you who don't care to do the maths, 1991 was 35 years ago. They instituted the council tax, and that's it. That's not the so all the property prices, all the council tax values that we pay for whatever property we live in, they've been the same. They go up due to inflation, obviously, but they've basically been the same since 1991, when I was 12. yes, the people who own richer properties, more expensive, more valued properties, they would be paying more in council tax. They would be. I wouldn't be. I'm on band A. I don't see it. Mines might go up by like a couple of pound a year by the end of the day. I love my gorgeous little flat. I love here. I live here. I love it. It is amazing. The bus service needs to get better, of course, but I love this place. Now that it's fixed, it is good. The Greens are the only answer, correct, Michael? Yeah. No government, especially down in Westminster, is going to order the revaluation of council tax in all the properties across the land. It's a quick way to lose the next election. It really is. Because all the ones who actually vote for the neo-lib bastard parties, especially the Tories and Labour now, and Reform into certain sections of Lib Dem voters, all their property prices, all their council tax rates are going to go up. Mine's won't. Not that much anyway. I will say like a couple of quid a year or something. Like pennies a month. So no. None of them are going to do it because it will literally lose them the next election because all the boomers say, you've increased our council tax. Ah! If you can afford to pay for that property, you can afford to pay the fucking council tax on it. I'm not a homeowner. I'm a renter. Social rent. Council tax. I still call myself a council tenant, by the way. I don't pay that much. I'm under £200 a month in my rent. Which is good, thank God. My sister's rent's slightly over 300, I think, but she's a 2-bedroom house. So flat, younger sister, and a back and front door, so a house essentially. I like my sister's house, it's quite good. Fairly well proportioned. I love my mum's house, which she owns outright. She just needs to pay her council tax and whatever building insurance she has. If anyone would care to say, if you are UK based, if you know what your council tax band is. Like I said, my mum's D band, my younger sister's B or C, I think, and my middle sister is C band or D. No, like my gran, before my gran and granddad, that's my dad's parents, they lived in Annie's Land. I will not say where, well, they're both dead now. They're no longer among us. They were in a band E, and their council tax was relatively okay. They could afford it. My granddad had a decent pension, plus a state pension as well. They were comfortable.
Underfunding local services, and it's the poorest are paying more than they should. We need to fix that. The Greens would fix that.
I'm not sure we have consensus for the next Parliament, but thank you all very much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
And we'll hear from some more politicians before the end of the programme. Now, debate night will be on your screens and podcast feeds once again this Wednesday. Here's Stephen Jordan with more details.
Thank you. With the countdown continuing to the Scottish election, debate night will be in Inverurie for the first time on Wednesday. If you want to come along and be part of the audience and join us, go to the website for more information.
Inverurie is in Aberdeenshire. My uncle, my mum's younger brother, used to live in Inverurie. He's now in Dice, which is closer to Edinburgh, Aberdeen itself. He is quite close to Edinburgh, to Aberdeen Airport, oddly enough, in Dice. But my uncle used to live in Inverurie. Inverurie is lovely. Really good pub up there. And a really good Indian. Quite popular. I loved it when I went to visit my uncle when he lived in Inverurie. It was cool. I liked it. He had a really nice 2-bedroom house. An actual back and front door one. I liked it. It was a good house. He's a rocker like me. He likes rock and heavy metal. Praise be my uncle. He is a twin. My God, it's been ages since I've seen my uncle. Name blanked. I really need to go up and visit my mum. I miss my mum.
bbc.co.uk/debate night, and make sure you watch Debate Night with me every Wednesday at 9 on the BBC Scotland channel.
Yeah, so look forward to that with Stephen in Inverrood.
I cover Debate Night.
Well, let's speak now to Ailsa Henderson, who's going to be with us every programme up to the election to help us to understand the polling trends and some of the tactics at play in this election. Ailsa's in Edinburgh for us. Morning to you once again, Ailsa. Now, we're going to talk about these MRP polls. We've seen 2 of them this week. Explain to us what they are and how they differ from what people might see as conventional opinion polls.
Yeah, so normally with a conventional poll, you would ask 1,000 or 1,500 people how they are going to vote. You might ask another couple of questions as well. But what we're really interested in is the percentage of support for each of those parties. And then other people might take those percentages and calculate national swings or regional swings and use those to make seat projections. But MRP polls are different, or multi-level regression, post-stratification polls, to give them their Sunday name. So they are based on 2 things. They're based on a much larger opinion poll. So samples in the UK election, they were about 10,000 people. And we're looking at people's vote intention, but we're also linking that.
The YouGov MRP that got released, the map that I like the best, the one that JL Partners done for the Telegraph, is they used MRP. Don't get me wrong, they did. But the questions on the actual asking people, actual people, what policies they'd like, what ones they actually like, and they want to be expanded and things like that. Their methodology on that half of the MRP is a little bit jank, to put it politely. If I didn't want to put it politely, I say it's absolutely fucked. But the actual statistical model on that half of it is actually quite good. It's credible. It's worked. It's been used for a good few years now. Here in the UK and mostly in Europe, Northern Europe, and they've used it a couple of times in the States, but they don't like it because it shows what the people actually think. Said, no, the voters? Fuck the voters. They do actually kind of listen to these polls here. That's why they keep on changing their policies during the election period, because they're opportunistic bastards, essentially. So the YouGov one is more credible. That was, I checked, it's like 12,500 or something across the UK. It was one of the widest polling exercises that actually happened up here. The JL Partners one and the Telegraph, the one that they done, was like 8.5 or just slightly under 10,000. Still credible. I like polls that are above 5,000 people where they ask 5,000 respondents, 5,000 people, essentially 5,000 voters. So anything above like 5,000, I give more weight to. So anything under 5,000, nah, fuck it, not representative, get wrecked. So yeah, anything above 10,000, quite like it, very good. Good way to sample. But then the methodologies that they use sometimes isn't not that good, essentially.
To demographics and socioeconomics, so age, ethnicity, income, past vote. And we use those to create the profile of a typical voter or typical supporter for a party. So what does a typical SNP supporter look like? What does a typical Reform supporter look like? And the second part is to then look at constituency profiles, drawing on data usually from the census, to figure out, well, how many of those typical SNP supporters or Reform supporters are there in this constituency? And those are then used to calculate possible results for each constituency contest. And so we've had 2 in the past week. We've had one from YouGov and one from JL Partners, both of them predicting 67 seats for the SNP, so a majority. But really that's where the similarities end, because they've got wildly different predictions in terms of winners in 13 constituencies, but also very different margins of victory and very different parties in second place as well.
Well, that's interesting. So I suppose the big question is how much faith, how much trust can we put into these polls?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things going on. So we know that we have new constituency boundaries, and we don't yet have the official census profiles for each of those constituencies. So that's going to be creating some noise. The samples were on the low end, so the JL Partners sample was only 2,000, which is really on the low end for an MRP poll. The YouGov sample was 4,000, so that's also relevant. But also with the JL Partners...
Right, that was what they used up here in Scotland, but they've done UK-wide as well. That's the bigger numbers I was mentioning. The research that I've done, I thought the YouGov one, especially the one that they done specifically up here, was 5.5. There's something going wrong here. She's lower than the one that when I done my research a couple of days ago, a couple of days after that, the YouGov MRP. I'll need to go back and check my research for that one, because I thought it was 5,500 up here in Scotland. And another couple of thousand down in Wales and down in England as well for the locals. So there's a... Oh. I thought I was correct. Interesting. Yeah, the one that the JL Partners done. Yeah, I don't know if I can believe it. They done it purely up here in Scotland. That 2,000 is... I don't give it credence. I'd like to see who they actually talked to. Might be an idea to see what sort of people they were actually talking to collect the information for the poll. Might be interesting.
Poll, they predicted Green
2,000 for Scotland is mostly decent. I'd want it to be higher, Morton. I would.
In every single constituency. So that will be creating some noise. And all of that also doesn't take into consideration the fact that we don't yet have people's tactical decisions, because we know that those are made, tactical voting decisions are made later in the campaign.
Well, what do we know about tactical voting during this election?
Well, we know that tactical voting has increased in every election since 1999. It got to a point in 2021 where it was 20% of the tactical vote. The Scottish election...
I keep on forgetting Morton, my comrade, my friend, my irreverent nerd. Where are you again? You just need to give the council area that you live in. And whether if you're voting or not, if your council's up for election, would be curious. You do indeed. I still haven't fucking followed you, sorry. I'll do that. I'll do it after my stream. Sorry about that. East Staffordshire. Cool. Up for election? Excuse me. Sorry about that. Praise be East Staffs. They have a based. Morton. Rejoice. Brilliant. With the Jack Miller. My God, the Jack Miller? I still need to coax some into the chat. No, Tamworth is, and I'm helping you. Oh, nice one. Cool. Nice one. Hang on. Are you near Alton Towers, Morton? Still haven't been down to Alton Towers. I can't do Class A rides. I don't think my body could handle it. Fuck off, pop-ups. You're pissing me off. Go away. Just pass your toxitor. Cool.
Election study asked people in February how they were going to cast their ballots, and we had 15% telling us that they were going to cast a tactical ballot, which is high for that stage of the campaign. We also know that most of the tactical voting in Scottish elections has been anti-SNP tactical voting. It reached over 80, it was 83.
Who'd have thunk it? Unionist bastards collaborating to make sure the SNP don't get majority. Not like that has ever happened. Seriously, I hate them. the collaboration, the tactical voting usually only affects mostly the list. Some, don't get me wrong, sometimes it affects the actual constituency votes as well, but it's mostly where the tactical voting happens is in the list portion for Holyrood. Don't get me wrong, we've been upset in the past. Make it end for me, please, chat. I'm fucking fed up. Well, not East Staffs. Right. Thank you. I've never been. I'm the only one that has never been down to Alton Towers. My mum, for fuck's sake, has been down to Alton Towers. And so super hubby. And so's my middle sister and her wife and the little girl. They've been to Alton Towers. And so's my younger sister and her partner and her 2 boys. They've been to Alton Towers. For Christ's sake, my granny, my mum's been down to Alton Towers back fucking years ago. 90s or something. I am the only one. I'm but lowly. I have never been down to Alton Tower. There's no point in me going to a fairground. I cannot do it. My body wouldn't survive a Class A ride. No. Christ's sake, I get fucking dizzy on the waltzers. Or the ski jump one. No. Or dodge jumps. Oh god, dodge jumps.
Percent in 2021 was anti-SNP.
Omaha, like me. I'm not alone.
As if that will remain the bulk of tactical voting. More than half of it will be anti-SNP tactical voting. But we also know that a fifth of respondents are telling us that they intend to cast a tactical ballot against reform.
And
Based.
does that mean that these tactical votes
Omaha.
could actually have a bearing on the outcome of individual contests and the
Quite
overall?
possibly, yes. That is the answer, Gary.
One thing we know about tactical voting is that it happens within constitutional blocks. So you have pro-independence supporters will cast ballots for other pro-independence parties, and on the pro-union side, you will get voters shuffling across the different pro-union parties to cast their tactical ballot. And so we know that in 2024, the result of that was that the Scottish electorate effectively arranged itself into a series of extreme two-party contests, where more than half the constituency contests had the third place party on less than 10% of the vote. And in all cases, that was pro-union voters shuffling across different pro-union parties, reducing the non-competitive parties to single-digit support, so as to put all their support behind the party that they felt was best placed to defeat the SNP. And I think that's relevant because we have evidence that reform could fundamentally change that within constitutional bloc tactical voting. The Norstat polling that came out last week was really interesting because it offered people a series of two-party contests. And it said, look, if it's only a fight between these two parties, how would you vote? And mostly we see the continued within constitutional bloc tactical voting. But the exception is SNP versus Reform contests, where we see that 2/3 of Labour voters and 3/4 of Lib Dem voters say that they would rather cast a ballot for the SNP than they would for Reform. So it could be that the arrival of Reform is causing a breakdown of that within constitutional bloc tactical voting. So that would mean we're in a very different situation from 2021.
Yeah, it makes for a very complicated picture, which keeps you busy, of course. Each week, you're going to focus on an individual constituency to give us an idea of its importance and what the result there might tell us overall. What are you looking at today?
Today, I'm looking at Banffshire and Buchan Coast because I think it's relevant to the MRP polling, but also to this tactical vote element. So this is a slightly redrawn constituency running from Peterhead. It's all the way over to Buckie. The southern boundary of the constituency's moved down almost as far as the Mintlaw.
This is the area basically where Alex Salmond was an MP for. Essentially, that is it's up north. It's on it's on the north. Oh, fucking hell! I'll show you. Give me a minute. Oh, okay. Constituency map of Scotland. What's one? Going in the current, pulling that probably be the best one. Try again. View image. View image. Thank you. Oh god, oh, fuck it. Fuck it, accept all you bastards. Right. Moray first. There's Elgin. I'm from Buggen Coast. Along here. Peterhead is here. Here's Peterhead. So up here, this is Banff and Buckie. This is Buckie here. This is Banff. There is Elgin. So along here. So this is essentially what used to be Alex Salmon territory because he was the MP for this area. I think the constituency boundaries are around about here, roughly. Here's the based one. Here's Perthshire. Praise be. And I'm... Oh, fucking hell. There's too many fucking constituencies in Glasgow. I'm somewhere around 29. If anyone can make out the number 29, I'm roughly around here. Roughly. Here is Edinburgh. Here's the capital. Oh. Where am I? Where am I? Where am I? Glasgow North East. Glasgow North East. Oh no, that's been changed. The electorate size is now 78,642. It's went higher than the 75,000 because they've grouped in Easterhouse and parts of the East End like Denniston and Catharmlock. So it's went up by a few thousand. So this one they were talking about, give me a second. When will it be? It's not. It'll be near Strathspey and Moray West. Yeah, that hasn't changed that much. It's probably went up by either up or down by a couple of hundred. So it's basically still 76,000 essentially. God, I forget how small Naheal na Shar is. So Naheal na Shar is the Western Isles, by the way. Naheal na Shar is the Gaelic name for it. Praise be. So there we go. 34,000, well nearly 35,000 for Orkney and Shetland. By the way, that for the Westminster, that is Alistair Carmichael. He's literally dug his claws into Orkney and Shetland. Alistair Carmichael, you're going to lose your seat at some fucking point. I swear you will. Any fucking look you will. Oh, no. Wrong one. That one. Clicked on the wrong one,
it has
sorry.
been held by the SNP since it was drawn in 2011, but we know that it's also an area of Leave support. Now, both MRP polls suggest that this is an SNP reform fight, but they differ in their predicted outcome. So YouGov is predicting that this is a fairly safe SNP seat. They have Dumfriesshire, for example, as a much closer SNP reform contest. But JL Partners is saying it's on a knife edge with less than 1 percentage point between them. Now we know that the overlapping UK constituency was lost to the SNP by the Conservatives by a margin of victory smaller than the number of reform votes that occurred in 2024. So it's very clear that Conservative to Reform switching cost the Conservatives that constituency. And I think that's relevant because if we're looking at ahead, obviously the result will hinge on the turnout of SNP and Reform supporters, but it will also turn on the tactical voting of Conservative, Labour and Lib Dem voters. And it might be a sign of whether we're starting to see this breaking down of constitutional bloc voting.
Ailsa, great to speak to you
Quite
again. We'll
possibly.
talk again next week.
I agree with Ailsa.
Well, back now to the cost of living and what seems like a constant crisis. More and more of our shopping is done online. It's nothing new, but for years now,
Not this household.
that has led to the decline of the high street. Small businesses are as ambitious as ever, but does the economic environment and red tape prevent and stifle the rejuvenation everyone hopes for? Well, we visited Perth this week to hear what the locals thought of.
Praise be. Rejoice, everyone. This is my hometown. Hello, Perth High Street. I have shopped on many occasions on that very street. Literally, I have. I have worked on that street in New Look, for my sins, when I was a teenager. My God. Hello, Perth High Street, indeed. Andy, if you ever want to come, I can take you up and I can show you all the highlights of Perth. I know a lot. I basically know most things about my home city. Praise be, Perth. Let's see.
Town centre.
There's plenty of phone shops, vaping, plenty of cafes, but no shops to actually physically go in and buy stuff.
You're seeing so many of these empty units here, you know. If there was some kind of encouragement for small businesses and that, things would move, you know, but there's just nothing at all.
I'm in high street all the time. I love going to charity shops. So, I mean, I go to charity shops just about every day and hunting for bargains and stuff like that. So, I mean, I love charity shops. Not everybody's cup of tea, but they are mine.
It's a shambles. Like, I used to work in New Look there and then it closed after a few years. I just think there's nothing.
Very, very outdated. I don't think there's an awful lot in here.
I think it's getting better, like food-wise, like more chains coming in, but I think a lot of the shops have shut down recently. So, yeah, it kind of comes and goes.
The rates are far too high and the people shops can't afford the rates and the shops are going to close.
Well, we'll look at what can be done about that with Labour's Paul O'Kane, who's here alongside Reform's leader in Scotland, Malcolm Offord, and Jamie Green from the Liberal Democrats. Morning to you all.
Okay, full clarity. Right, Paul O'Kane can go and fuck himself. I don't like him. Malcolm Offord, obviously everyone knows my opinion on this actual wank. Jamie Green used to be a Tory, but he was fed up. He didn't like the stance. Like, he probably felt disaffected during Dross's reign, essentially, and he shifted. He's now a Lib Dem. I've got a certain amount of respect for Jamie Green. He's quite good, mostly for being a neo-lib. Really good. Those two can go and fuck off. Paul, Malcolm, get wrecked. Don't worry about it, Andy. Made me giggle. Thanks.
Thanks very much. Before we get into that, Malcolm Offord, I just wanted to ask you about this spat with Anas Sarwar. You said that he had asked you about working to defeat the SNP. He's called you a liar. I don't want to get into all of that, but if you are elected and you have a cabal of Reform UK MSPs, do you vote for Anas Sarwar to be First Minister?
Well, he doesn't share our ambition to make Scotland the most successful part of the UK. So I don't understand how we could work together.
So you wouldn't vote for him to be First Minister, for instance?
We want to make Scotland prosperous. We're going to talk about the cost of living. We want good jobs, good wages. We will work with anyone who wants to share that agenda.
Paul O'Kane, would you be uncomfortable at the idea of Reform helping in any way to get Anas Sarwar into the House?
Well, look, Anas Sarwar's been very clear in this election. He is a candidate for First Minister. We're not making deals, we're not making plans before a single vote has been cast. We are standing on our own agenda and our own manifesto, and that is what Anas has spelled out quite clearly, and that's the change that the people of Scotland need. And there's only one candidate running this election alongside John Swinney who can be First Minister, and that man is Anas Sarwar.
But would you serve in a Scottish Cabinet if it was brought about by Reform UK votes?
We've been absolutely clear that there will be no deals, there will be no backroom deals. We are standing on our own 2 feet, on our own agenda, and that's what we'll forward to the Scottish people who have to vote first, Gary, and not a single vote. Well, votes aren't now being cast.
You'd be happy if they did vote for you?
Look, what I'm saying is we are going to stand on our own 2 feet, and a Labour minority administration is what we would put forward if we were in that situation. But votes are being cast right now.
That's on the outer edge, you being in full control with a majority. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Maybe minority. No. Paul, please. You're polling third or fourth. The Scottish Greens have every fucking possibility of eclipsing you. Get wrecked. I'm damning against leadership debate has been since this meeting present with. I've actually checked up on that. Someone else posted it in the Discord, and I was checking it. My sister texted me about it. She was actually checking with me. On the rare occasion she can actually use her phone to actually reach out and just say hi to everyone, see how we're all doing, like me, my other sister, Mum. She sees Mum more because they both live in person, really. So is there any validity? There might be validity. Give me a minute. I'll come back to you in a couple of hours and I'll text you links. Is that okay? Yeah. Text me the links. I'll read them. She actually tasked her partner, her man, as she calls him. I love my basically brother-in-law, my sister's partner, and he's checked as well. What do you think of the validity? Possibly, yes. Don't get me wrong, I don't want them in charge either. This is coming from a former Tory vote, by the way. I've managed to educate him a little bit, and so's my sister. Obviously, he's not a communist like me, but he can understand my position. He said, I would never be like that, though. Yeah, I get it. So I've got my minions, I've got my researchers, all at my fingers. And he says, why do you do this to yourself? Educate the populace? Get better government? Might be easy. Well worth my time and expenditure, essentially. I'll do some more research. I know who I need to reach out to. Don't worry, Andy. If you want to get Bryce or Lewis to help me out with that, if they've got a spare minute or anything, maybe worth it. Don't pressure them or anything. It's entirely up to themselves. Just say that I'm looking out for people to help me do some more research, especially where this election is concerned. I would say hi to Bryce and Lewis for me, by the way.
Nobody knows the outcome of this election, and that's what's important is people have their say.
Jimmy Green, your party said that you don't want John Swinney to return to Bute House, so would you potentially be voting for Anas Sarwar if it came to that?
I mean, as Paul said, we need to wait and see what the outcome of this election is. I think it's very arrogant of John Swinney to say he's going to win a majority. That just is symptomatic of an SNP.
He never said that. It's the polling company that are saying that. How many times do I need to say this to the lot of yous? Right, I'll give Jamie his due, don't get me wrong. But yeah, it's the polling companies. John Swinney has never said that. He's basically saying, I want to win the most constituencies and the most list votes as I possibly can, which is fair enough, yes. He's the leader of a party at the end of the day, and he wants to be in charge. He wants to be the government. I get it, yeah. He never fucking said that. Please, the lot of you, stop fucking saying that. He says he wants to be First Minister again. I like that. Cool. It's the polling companies you've got issues with, not John Swinney. Right, I can understand why Jamie's doing it. I can give him a little bit of due there, but Malcolm and Paul can get wrecked. They know exactly what they're fucking saying.
Government that's 20 years in power and just thinks that they're swan into Butte House again. What we're bringing to this election is slightly different to the spat.
They're not going to swan in. The polling is looking good for the SNP and the Greens, and to a certain extent for the Lib Dems. And certain constituencies, Jamie. You know that. You're actually running to become a constituency MSP for the Lib Dems. The polling is looking quite good for you, actually. They are. Fair enough. I do kind of like you a bit. But at the end of the day, I'm still a Marxist. Oh. But Paul O'Kane and Malcolm Offord can go and fuck right off. Mind you, so can Annas.
It's that you're seeing from the parties sitting next to me. We want to better politics. I think politics needs to be more positive, more constructive, more grown up. That's what the public deserve. I think it's what they expect from politicians as well.
Well, it may not feel very grown up this weekend, Paul O'Kane, because we had the Prime Minister here. He rushed to Faslane, he left again, he didn't meet any Labour figures. Is Labour in Scotland embarrassed by Keir Starmer?
Look, I think it's right that the Prime Minister, in the current crisis, having just come from Paris around the Strait of Hormuz negotiations, went to Faslane to thank our brave men and women of the armed forces.
And that may well be right, but is it also a bit embarrassing that he would come to Scotland in the midst of an election campaign and not meet Anna Sarwar, not campaign in any of
Well, as I say, I think it's right that he met those service personnel, but what I also think is true is the Prime Minister is not a candidate in this election, Gary. We are talking about who's going to be the First Minister of Scotland and how we're going to get change after 20 years of an SNP government. And the candidate for First Minister is Anna Sarwar. So he has been out across the country campaigning to replace John Swinney and to offer change for the people of Scotland.
Have you made your mind up, Malcolm Offord, about whether Keir Starmer should resign?
I said I wasn't going to jump on the bandwagon. I said that if he's lied...
Nigel Farage has.
No, I said if he's lied, then he's in a very difficult position. But we're going to see what happens this week. Ollie Robbins needs a right of reply. He'll be speaking to the MPs this week. Let's see where this goes.
Right, let's get to cost of living then. Jamie Green, let me ask you, all three of you, the question that I asked our other panellists as well. Just one measure that you could bring forward immediately to alleviate some of the problems that we've been hearing about for families this morning.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I think we need is to bring people's energy bills down. The Liberal Democrats want to insulate Scotland's cold homes. We have a housing stock, and for far too many people, they're living in deteriorating conditions. The SNP government promised to get a grip of this issue. Bringing people's bills down is the #1 priority, but there's other things the government can and should be doing as well. For sure.
Okay,
there's plenty more.
We'll come to it, don't worry. What immediately could you do that would make a difference to people in this cost of living crisis?
Give them their money back. It's quite simple. People in Scotland who work are paying too much in tax, and the cost of living is going to keep going up. Prices will go up. What we need is good jobs with good wages, and we can't have, if you have a job and you're paying a wage, we can't have the government taking so much off. People in Scotland are too highly taxed, as simple as that.
Will everybody get a tax break?
How much is that going to cost?
Yes, everybody should get a tax break. Everybody should. Fundamentally, if you work, you should always have more money in your pocket at the end of the week if you don't work. And we've got governments spending too much money. The welfare bill is too high. We're spending too much on immigration. We're spending too much on net zero. We're spending too much on quangos. We're spending too much money.
What about you, Paul O'Kane? What's Labour's one policy that you could bring in immediately?
Well, we've said really clearly that as the crisis continues with the illegal actions of Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu, we need an £100 million package of immediate measures to support people. That's grants and loans around energy bills for businesses, but also for communities. It's about bulk buying fuel potentially. It's about convening the supermarkets together to have a credible plan to bring down food prices, because I think what the
publicly owned energy policy. Paul, you absolute wank. It's not that difficult a proposal, but with records like you in Holyrood, you have to pay your big oil barons after all, don't yous? Get red. Give us the fucking policy so we can actually create a Scottish grid. I don't know. But what do I know? Lefty loony, again. I get rubbished at every fucking turn by you fucking bastards. If we had full control of this, we could actually provide for the people of Scotland.
MP are suggesting is in the realms of fantasy to some extent and might not come in for many years. So what we need is action and leadership by the government in order to
How would you would
legislate,
legislate, so you would just appeal to the better nature of the supermarket?
Well, look, legislating is going to take years potentially to actually deliver a change at the supermarket shelves. The reality is you need to show leadership and use the convening power of government as First Minister to bring those supermarkets together and to do what they did in COVID to some extent, which was make sure the supply chain was there, make sure they were working together to keep prices down.
UK government's talking about the possibility of food shortages. They're looking at a worst-case scenario for the summer. Do you think that politicians should be trying to bring the prices down in the shops?
Well,
is that their job, Malcolm?
It's extraordinary. I mean, we're talking about food shortages. That's before we have this gimmick from the SNP of capping food prices. I mean, everybody wants cheap food, but at this rate there'll be no food because farmers and fishers will not actually be providing food on this basis. And so it's a short...
Citation needed. Malcolm. Citation needed, thank you. Right. We just need to rejig the proposals, the legislation and the contracts. That's all we need to do. So you saying that no food, yeah, citation needed, you absolute fucking wank. Just no. Doesn't work like that. You all should know that. Oh, by the way, he's a Thatcherite, and he used to be a major donor to the Tory party when he was a lord down in the other place. He gave up his lordship. He still gets called lord. I don't know why. He's literally running for a constituency called Inverclyde. I hope he loses his fucking deposit. Fingers crossed. Ow, actually hurt. Oh.
About right at the moment?
It's a gimmick. The way to deal with this is to have people in better jobs with better wages. Simple as that.
What about you? What do you make of this policy?
Yeah, I think the SNP gimmick about capping food prices is not really thought through. This is, I think, reactive. There's an election on and we're going to get this sort of nonsense.
But people do want immediate action. That's what we've been hearing.
So one of the things,
and this may well be something that they feel that actually will happen quite quickly.
People are feeling the pinch everywhere. They're feeling the pinch in their energy bills. They're feeling the pinch when they go to the petrol pumps. One thing the UK government could do right now is reduce fuel duty. Will the Labour government do that? Will they bring people's bills down right now at the pumps? Because small businesses are hurting, farmers are hurting, people that commute to work are hurting, people in rural communities are hurting. Why won't they do it?
Well, should the Chancellor at Westminster be looking at this?
Well, the Chancellor, of course, is looking at all of these...
Could have done it weeks ago.
The Chancellor, of course, is looking at all of these issues in terms of the ongoing crisis, and fuel prices are very volatile, as we all know on the panel.
Yeah.
And of course, fuel duty is frozen at the moment, so that absolutely has to be looked at in terms of the wider budget. But actually, in terms of our devolved powers, what we've said in our package is the bulk buying of fuel actually is something that could help businesses across Scotland and indeed households to make sure that vital services can keep running.
Countries have done it already to take that pressure off people.
Well, indeed, and we've seen it in Ireland. 20% off the duty on petrol, 15% on diesel. Is that a useful move, Malcolm?
Well, the issue is that the Labour government in Westminster have talked about economic growth, and then every single policy they put through has stifled economic growth.
Ad break. I will wait. If anyone's going into ads, please say, I will pause. I will wait for you to come back. I've still got 5 of yous. Thank you. Praise be. Following my irreverentness. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Mwah. Did anyone see Celtic won? Haha. So the Scottish Cup final. I don't know if they decided. I don't know who's going to be home, but it's Dunfermline Athletic and Celtic. 23rd of May. I knew if I can remember. Come on, the boys! No. I will wait for comrades to come back if they're in Adhill. I try to avoid Adhill as much as possible, obviously. Oh! I got a ticket. I'm going to a Scottish Green Party. Just up the road from the Barrowlands. It's called St Luke's and the Winged Ox. Feel free to check it out. It looks brilliant. So, rejoice. your mad Scottish lass will be actually showing her in full stream, like just me on the, just me, possibly with music playing in the background, wearing different outfits to see what people think I should wear to party. So Thursday the 30th of April. I will not drink too much, don't worry. I'll start off with like Iron Brew or Diet Coke, or hopefully they'll have Pepsi. If not, Diet Coke. Or maybe Iron Brew.
Whether it's putting up workers' national insurance, whether it's these rate increases, whether it's energy, fuel prices.
Hasn't America's war in Iran also had an effect?
The reality is, Labour will speak that language, but don't actually understand how to do it. We need to get bills down for people and taxes down, and that's what the Labour Party don't understand.
In a breath a moment ago, Malcolm said we need better jobs and better paid jobs. So the first thing a Labour government did was...
That was a tax on jobs.
Excuse me, the first thing the Labour government did was raise the national minimum wage and put in
national insurance.
National insurance is a tax on jobs.
Put in strong rights for workers. All opposed, of course, by Reform UK. All, of course, opposed. Those good wages, those good jobs and those rights.
All those energy jobs, where are they? Thousands of jobs were going to be.
Jamie is now apparently coming to the defence of not raising the national living wage and not ensuring the workers'
but
rights.
Also, Jamie Green,
holding the UK government.
Jamie Green, you asked Malcolm Offord how he would pay, where the money would come from to pay for tax cuts.
Yeah.
You're calling for duty cuts. Where would the money come from for that?
Well, the government's making more money as the cost of petrol is going up, so there is money in the bank for that. The issue that I
Jamie, not the way the fucking Barnett formula works. The vast majority of the money that we get for taxing fossil fuel extraction goes to the fucking treasury. And very little of it comes back up here to Scotland. You know that. You were a Tory. You might be Lib Dem now, but you know this. That's how the fucking Barnett formula works. Fucking oh god, man, I'm gonna fucking explode. Save me, chat. Christ's sake. Carry on, you bastards.
Question Malcolm about, though, is his tax cut funding. Billions of pounds that the Institute for Fiscal Studies says is nonsense. It's a mirage. You can't just suddenly overnight wake up and cut people's tax. It needs to be a gradual process as the economy grows. Now, one thing we should be talking about on this panel is economic growth, creating jobs, attracting more businesses, and attracting inward investment into Scotland. Scotland can be booming as an economic powerhouse. But after 2 decades of SNP power, it's not happening.
There's no point in talking about it, Jamie. What are you actually going to do to deliver it?
Well,
and our plan is going to deliver it. So it's £2 billion. It's an investment in people who
Where's
work.
the money coming from?
It's an investment.
It's
very simple.
There's a black hole in the finances already.
It's 3% of the Holyrood budget of £72 billion. That is not a challenging figure. That is not a challenging figure, and that will deliver, we think, over 10 years, an 8 billion return.
It doesn't grow on trees,
8 billion back. 8 billion back.
Desmond.
8 billion back. 8 billion back from 2 billion invested.
I want to ask you about fuel poverty. 34% of households in fuel poverty, as I mentioned a little earlier. What specific measures could you offer, Malcolm Offord?
On fuel poverty.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: if we actually were drilling our oil, we actually have
Carry on.
Treasury would be taking
Andy,
money in right now.
Carry on. Yeah, Malcolm, shut the fuck up.
I think you need targeted measures here for sure, and that can be done. But it does raise the issue that we are not secure in our energy. We're not secure, and we're not affordable.
If you dare say the security is in fucking renewables, Malcolm, you absolute wank. Expanding onshore and offshore and fucking tidal, I'm going to be screaming into the void forever until it gets fucking implemented. Rejoice, there's one thing that is consistent with your mad Scottish lass. Do more fucking tidal. Fuck it, I'll let them play. I will be back momentarily, my friends.
We just go on the world market. They wouldn't necessarily bring our bills down here.
Understand? The difference between oil and gas, separate the two out. Oil we don't use in the UK, but we make money from the exchequer from that, and we protect a lot of very good, well-paid jobs. Gas, on the other hand, we bring into the domestic market on a UK domestic market only to get our bills down. It's nuts that we have killed off our oil and gas industry.
Labour hasn't covered itself in glory when it comes to fuel poverty, of course, by cancelling the winter fuel payments, albeit reinstated in a form for this coming year. That was a big mistake, wasn't it, Paul?
Well, Scottish Labour have always been clear that we didn't agree with that decision, and that's why in the Scottish Parliament, when the payment was devolved, we actually moved pretty quickly to push the SNP government to reinstate that payment. I think, though, what is clear is that in the devolved powers in the election that we're all standing in, there is more we can do. We've seen cuts, for example, to the Fuel and Security Fund in Scotland. We need to reinstate that. We need to use the powers we have in order to provide grants to businesses in particular to deal with spiralling fuel costs.
Malcolm Offord, should the government be helping in this way with winter fuel payments? You've talked about the benefits bill. Is that something that might be for the axe?
I think that there needs to be targeted help to targeted people, no question about it. But the big question we're talking about here is that prices are going to keep going up. And the way to deal with this long term is to get people into good jobs with high wages. We have to incentivise people to do that, and we have to allow them to keep more of what they earn. They will then protect themselves and their families. They will make the decisions that's best for them, not government.
Well, people are having to buy heating oil at the moment. That's one of the decisions they're having to make. We heard from Ursula on Arran a little earlier. She says, like many of the two-parent working families close to where I live and other rural communities around the country right now, we're faced with a harsh reality of whether or not they can actually fill up their tank with heating oil. What specific measure could you bring forward to help with that, Jimmy?
Yeah, I mean, the issue of rural and island communities is a really important one. There are far too many people relying on oil to heat their homes. And obviously with the cost of that rising in recent weeks is really hammering them. The Scottish Government could do more on this. I mean, we should be building anyway more better quality, warmer homes. The Government's not meeting its house building targets. We have a national emergency in housing. Tackling that housing crisis, I think, is the first thing the Scottish Government could do on a devolved competency. But yeah, I mean, absolutely, it's a disgrace that people, particularly in rural communities, are having to pay more just to survive when people like us in the Central Belt don't have to do that.
Is this a specific area where government should step in, Malcolm Offord, rather than just say tax cuts and...
Yeah, look, my view is we want less government, not more government. People can make their own decisions if you actually...
These tax cuts seem to be a panacea for everything. So.
No, it is over a long-term period. We are now, if you compare us with Ireland, for example, Ireland's now got the highest GDP per capita in Europe, and they've got low taxes. We've got high taxes and the worst. You know, go figure.
But the reform need to be honest with the public. Whose welfare are you taking away? Who and how much?
Yes,
be honest with people.
We will deal with a situation.
Whose welfare are you taking away?
Deal with a situation where people who can work we need to help them back.
But what
to
about
work.
those that can't?
Those that can't, well, those who genuinely can't work,
so
those who are genuinely long-term disabled, will always be looked after.
And the same level of benefit that they get at the moment?
Always should be. And we've got 800,000 adults who are economically inactive, of whom half are legitimately unable to work. But there's another half that can be helped back to work.
Their benefits,
No, but we have to help them back to work, Jamie, because actually they can make more money.
Put children
they can make more money in real jobs.
So they can.
If we can actually help them back to work.
Of course they can.
Let me ask you about the council tax, because that question from Hazel in Aberdeen wants to know why the big rises in council tax in recent years have continued to be avoided by the politicians. There's been talk of reform. We discussed it earlier with our first panel. Paul, again, do you have any idea of a reform package here for the council tax?
Well, in our manifesto, we've spelled out that there has to be broader reform, I think, in consultation with local communities. Well, I think, first of all, it's about looking at local government more generally. You know, can we do more in terms of our regional structures, for example? But I think in terms of the council tax, we're going to have to come together and properly find a solution, because the reality is 20 years ago, the SNP promised to scrap the unfair council tax. We're still living with it. They have gone through a series of council tax freezes that have then stored up problems, whilst cutting local government budgets. It is not sustainable going forward for our public services.
Can you find a consensus in the Parliament?
I mean, that's what I'm worried about. I watched the last panel, and I suspect the same would be true of this panel. I don't think you're going to find consensus in the next Parliament. That's going to be a real issue. Of course, council tax needs to be reformed. Of course, local government needs to be funded properly. And we need to do what we can to bring people's the monthly bills down. But I struggle to see where there would be consensus. I think the best thing the next government should do is some independent work about alternatives to council tax. Take it out of the politics, take the politics out of it and come up with some sensible solutions.
You can find a form of consensus amongst the Scottish public, because a majority of them want to see reform.
Sure. Well, the clue's in the name, reform. If you want reform, you've got to vote for reform.
So what is the reform of the council tax?
And here's the thing with council tax. If you look over the last 10 years, the biggest spending department, this is a choice made by the SNP government, Nicola Sturgeon and John Swinney there the whole time, the biggest spending department in the last 10 years has been welfare. The lowest spending department has been councils. These are choices that we made by the SNP. They have starved councils, and instead they've increased welfare to a point where it's not affordable.
Shoving people into poverty is not the solution
This is not,
to our economic black hole.
The way out of poverty is work. The best welfare I can give anybody is a good job.
Yeah, and this is a man who opposed workers' rights legislation.
That's
and
that was
indeed,
a job
and
on
indeed,
tax.
No, I'm sorry.
The taxes on jobs.
So increasing the national living wage, the minimum wage to a living wage is
if you price young people out of the job market, how are you doing them a favour?
So sorry,
how are you pricing it? Everyone
What's
has
the evidence that they are being priced out?
A starter job is my first job. It was in a pub. Working in a pub is a good place to start, or in retail, right? It's a good starter job.
You're hinting that people don't want to work. Of course people want to work.
If you push the price so high that you've priced them out, the employers cannot afford to pay young people to do those jobs, you're doing them a massive disservice.
So you would just leave it to the employer to decide on a level of wages?
Employers, local employers will always want to employ local people. I talk to them every day, and they're desperate to employ local people.
These are the classic Tory arguments we heard against the introduction of a national minimum wage back in the 90s. And let's be honest, Reform UK are essentially a Tory tribute act because Malcolm used to be a Tory. So we shouldn't be surprised that that's the sort of argument we're hearing against increasing the national minimum wage, putting in secure rights for workers to make sure that they get treated well in those jobs.
I just want very quick final words, just a few seconds.
There's one group of people in Scotland we need to be talking about more, and that's small and medium-sized businesses and the self-employed. They feel forgotten by politics. The business rate hikes that we saw, particularly hitting hospitality and tourism, was an absolute disgrace. It was also entirely avoidable. So the SNP government need to talk the talk and walk the walk when it comes to business. That community feels forgotten by politics and by Parliament.
Gentlemen, thank you all three for being with us this morning. Thank you. Well, next week I'll be with you live from 10 as usual on BBC Radio Scotland. But if you prefer to watch, we're going to be live on the BBC Scotland channel. But there'll be a repeat on BBC One Scotland at 3 p.m. Or of course, as always, you can find the programme on the iPlayer or on BBC Sounds. Well, the programme will continue this morning on BBC Radio Scotland and on Sounds right through until midday. I do hope that you're going to be able to stay with me.
My God, it took me 3 hours to get through the Sunday show tonight. Fucking hell. I get a driver growth the expanding news. Like fastly expanding into yeah. Paul. Great Paul. Your Paul. I am feeling energized. Let's carry on. I'm going to be up for silly hours. There must be tea. Carry on. Make yourself a cup of tea. Make it the correct colour, Andy. I demand of you. There's only the one true perfect cup of tea. I will be demanding that. What next? Rejoice! There be pull. Next thing that can't be pushed. Feel free to vote for yourself then, Omaha. You get to choose. While we wait, I've given 10 minutes for the poll. Go away. Thank you. That is my dashboard. Let us do some music, shall we? Ooh, what'd be this? Lorna! What? Oh, God. What the? Oh, Christ. Numpty. Go back to the beginning. Sorry, Lorna.
The current UK government has allowed us to be left behind as the US, Europe and others move quickly to stimulate domestic economic activity on net zero matters. And I'm afraid that with Keir Starmer's Labour abandoning their flagship £28 billion green investment pledge, this is a really important and a significant thing on the very same day that scientists confirm the world has terrifyingly breached the 1.5 degree warming threshold for a year, that this is a terrible indictment of a future Labour government and indeed of the economic stability of broken Brexit Britain. Scotland is accustomed to the perpetual disappointment of Labour, so maybe it's not a surprise, but it is environmental and economic ineptitude. The current UK government has allowed us to be left behind as the US, Europe and others move.
Last Friday, many of us learned for the first time that in addition to the regular pride flag, there is a straight pride flag, which I thought looked a lot like an old-timey prison uniform, but reminded a lot of you of other things, and I wanted to highlight a few. First, though, let's be clear, this flag and others like it represent a reactionary counter-movement to regular LGBTQ pride, and the word for that is homophobic. I say that because some individuals with the media literacy of penguins, themselves a species so dedicated to toting their straight pride colors that children's books are written about their traditional family structures, failed to understand that we were mocking the flag. Some of us happen to believe that the best way to take power away from a thing is to ridicule it, and if you don't understand that, then this video, and like a lot of media, isn't for you. Caveats made, the straight pride flag, in loose order of popularity, reminded you all of the Hamburglar, zebras, racing flags, femboy thigh-highs, which I had to Google, so that was fun for my FBI agent. Beetlejuice. Heavily redacted files. Really, any redacted files, but you know the files we're talking about. This flag was shared by a lot of people, and at first glance I'll admit being worried it was some sort of hate or prejudicial thing that I wasn't familiar with. It's actually something even scarier. It's French. I'm kidding, obviously, but this is the Brittany flag. But by far, the most common response I got was that the straight pride flag looks almost identical to a Sephora bag. To that end, I am calling for a formal alliance between the straights and Sephora, and in particular asking all straight men to realize now that Sephora is a place for us, which will be especially helpful as we prep our straight pride Halloween costumes this year. Also, it was pointed out that there happens to be a straight ally flag, and if that works for you, great, but it is a purely vexiological comment. I don't think it looks that good, and if I want to show my support for the LGBTQ community, I am more than happy to wave around the regular old pride flag, or better yet, dance like an idiot with my friends at the Eagle at 3 in the morning. Last Friday, many of us learned for the first time that in addition to the regular pride flag...
But doesn't Iran have nuclear weapons?
No. So Kate...
Wait a second, have I missed something?
Yeah,
Humbug!
So I'm not going to lie, Kate, you've missed
humbugs.
perhaps the biggest part of this conflict,
Please be a humbug.
which is all about nuclear weapons.
I thought the whole point was that we didn't want them to have them.
Exactly.
The West didn't want them. I don't actually mind if they have them.
So a quick... yeah, I don't mind.
I'm actually fine if they have them.
So basically, the sort of a very simplified retelling of this is, back in 2015, Obama came up with this agreement with Iran where he was like, Israel were like, they're building a nuclear fucking bomb and they're going to kill us and we can't allow this. Whether you agree with that assessment or not is up to you. But Obama came up with an agreement with Iran where he was like, you guys have to stop enriching your uranium.
Yeah.
Because that you might use it for a bomb. And they were like, okay, cool. Then Israel were like, we're not
Oh, they
happy.
were like, okay, cool.
Yeah, they were like, there was an agreement.
Thank
and
you,
so they were
Sonia.
like, okay, we're not going to enrich it to build a nuclear bomb.
Hello.
That's fine. We're just going to use it domestically. Then Israel were like, you can't fucking trust them. They pulled out the deal. Then Donald Trump arrived in 2016. He pulled out the deal. And then ever since, they've been negotiating with Iran to, for example, last year during the 12-day war, when Trump bombed Iran, and when he said on the White House lawn, he was like, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. That war, he was like, we've destroyed their nuclear capabilities. Then they entered negotiations where they were like, stop enriching your uranium. And this was in February. And then when they were just about to get to an agreement, Trump bombed them, and now we're in this war.
But doesn't Iran have nuclear weapons?
No. So Kate,
Wait a second, have I missed something?
yeah. So I'm not going to lie, Kate. You've missed perhaps the biggest part of this conflict.
This video is about really good lines in places they have no business being, and while it's not necessary for you to be old enough to remember this, why yes, this is a Pokemon CD from 1999, sometimes called To Be a Master with a 2 and a B, because look, it was the 90s, I don't know what to tell you. If you are old enough to remember it, what are you planning or did you do for your 40th birthday? Because mine is coming up soon, and I don't normally throw birthday parties, so I am a bit short on ideas. Anyway, on track 9 of this CD, we have Team Rocket, parentheses, Double Trouble. Double Trouble is a song where Jesse, James, and Meowth, with a cameo from Giovanni, sing about being in Team Rocket and catching Ash's Pikachu. If you've watched this far into the video but you're not familiar with the Pokemon franchise, I feel I should point out that that is not in fact a euphemism for anything. Regardless, the song contains the following lines, which I'm gonna sing for you because copyright.
We're always gonna try it, no one can deny it, we can cause a riot in Sunday school, and we'll have you believing truth can be deceiving. Do unto others is our golden rule.
I'm sorry, we can cause a riot in Sunday school is just genuinely a really good line? I mean, why Jesse and James, characters from a TV show based on a Japanese video game, would be singing about Sunday school is left to the listener's imagination, although I'm pretty sure that Team Rocket, on a different CD to this, but one I did used to own, sang a song about Christmas. But I just think it's such a good lyric, even if it's totally incongruous, and I love the way they pair it with the rhyme of do unto others is our golden rule. Like, that's just really good. One might say it's too good for a villain song about kidnapping a child's electric mouse, but whatever. And it got me thinking, there are definitely other examples of this, so I would like to hear yours. What line in a movie or a TV show or a song, or anything you like really, made you think, wow, you're so incongruously good? How did you get here? Looking forward to reading them. This video is about really good lines in places they have no business being, and
President Trump is uniting the people of Italy against it. Even the local newspaper described it as a moment of Italian unity against the unpredictable man in the White House. So what happened? Follow me, I'll tell you. Up until very recently, the far-right Prime Minister of Italy, Giorgia Meloni, and President Trump got along pretty well. Even when Trump was being kind of creepy.
She's a beautiful young woman. Now, if you use the word beautiful in the United States, that's the end of your political career, but I'll take my chances. You don't mind being called beautiful, right?
Then it all went south, in part thanks to Vice President Vance. Last week, Vance traveled to Hungary, where he endorsed the far-right Prime Minister, Viktor Orban. Orban swiftly lost the re-election, and Vance's endorsement was largely seen as the kiss of death. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Meloni is up for re-election next year, and it's suspected that the Hungary election is one of the many reasons she's looking to move away from Trump. So on Sunday, when President Trump said that the Pope was weak on crime, amongst other things, Meloni was quick to call that unacceptable. And in response, President Trump said that she is the one who is unacceptable. Not his best comeback. On Tuesday, Vice President Vance doubled down on the remarks.
I think it's very, very important for the Pope to be careful when he talks about matters of theology.
With the tensions over the White House.
Help? Hello, atheist here, by the way. It brought up in Church of Scotland, fuck it, Protestant. Super happy. Born and brought up Catholic. He calls himself a recovered Catholic. My God, what would it be like if he went to confession? That is between Super Happy and the priest. I'm pretty sure if Super Happy told the priest everything that he's done since the last time he actually went to confession, which is when he was 16 years old, which is 40, I repeat, 40 years ago. Oh. I'm pretty sure Super Happy would melt that priest's brain. Sure of it.
House's ongoing comments on the Pope looming large, Italy announced that it was suspending its renewal of a defense agreement with Israel. This did not sit well with Trump, who is strongly aligned with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. So much so that he apparently agreed to attack Iran in February after Netanyahu made a hard sell on a joint U.S.-Israeli mission. Israel had convinced Trump with a short video montage of potential leaders that could take over for Iran. Essentially, it was a commercial to invade a country. I can't imagine being that suggestive.
Parenti, amici, son tutti qua.
So as Italy distanced itself from the U.S. and Israel, the country has been united, if briefly, across the political spectrum. President Trump is uniting the people of Italy against it. Even the local newspaper described it as a moment of Italian unity against the unpredictable man in the White House. So what happened? Follow me, I'll tell you. Up until very recently, the far-right Prime Minister of Italy, Giorgia Meloni, and President Trump got along pretty well, even when Trump was being kind of creepy.
She's a beautiful young woman. Now, if you use the word beautiful in the United States, and that...
He didn't want it to be Prime Minister. Music break. Methinks. Where are we? Yeah, gunman, why not? Ah, got it. Fuck. Oh, there's a. Leslie, what's wrong? Oh, for fuck. Ah! Back. Sorry about that. I was the only one that. Oh, so you sucked, I sang. Go pack your stuff and roll away. Better run, man, or you won't live another day. Where you off to now? You know I sleep a day, night and every time to touch. You gun man, how do you feel inside? Catch me if you can, but they got bad stuff, but I would take it live. Running from the past, I'm chasing the light. I'm a walking calamity with hope for humanity. 'Cause even if I'm scarred by millions of knives, I'll take another leave, then return to your side. Running from the crash to practice what she taught me. We can all see a world made of love and peace. Mr. Gunman, I just don't understand. I'm trying to save you. Along with all the plans they're trying to use us, abuse us. Quit making your excuses. You're her. Do you believe your independence? Something they can't perceive. How will you for years? And yet all your tears. What will you do without your friends?
The sheeting doesn't have to be on for them to dry.
I can dry them quicker though.
You've got fucking things that suck out fucking moisture out the bastard in there. I did fucking 4 washes yesterday.
I know. I wasn't expecting you to get up for another hour, sorry. I'm gonna have to write down, sorry. Let's see who's going. Darling? I was going to read the burp that doodles. Don't worry about it, so now. That one? Let's put it on.
How you doing?
He came in on the sub, he woke me up, he started talking nonsense, and then he took off to the orchid.
Love to trade theories about this, but I'm a little busy right now.
What are you busy with at 6 o'clock in the morning?
James, tell him.
Get in here. Phil, one of my security guys, got himself a videotape of me and Kate taking the kid out to the hostels.
And where's the tape?
With Phil.
And where is Phil?
Phil, Jack. Phil.
Oh, your guys' fault for coming back. He could have had a nice life for a while.
Are we waiting for something?
Right on time.
No, Phil is not.
Be back in 10 minutes.
This is Lost. So there is a wiki. And above is the drinking game. Drinking of your choice, of course, is optional. Some people do water or juice or coffee. We're in season wait.
Just traded with 4
Oh no, are you not lost it? This is my first watch through, and I have been enjoying this shit out of it. It is right.